Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. It is match point for 100 Thieves versus Clutch Gaming. We've made it here to Game 5. A lot of people probably thought this was not going to happen, but Clutch Gaming has come out of the woodwork, and they have done it in extreme fashion today.
Yeah, pretty much showing that Clutch Gaming is the real deal, that it pretty much wasn't a fluke that they played and beat TSM in the quarterfinals. And now here in the semifinals, one game away from making the run all the way up as the 6th seed. And remember, we have dynamic seeding, so they had the hardest possible matchups the whole way.
And I just think it's incredible when you look at how much they're surprising people and even surprising themselves. I mean, this is a team that talked about how they're losing all their scrims to everyone, that they were struggling against all these teams.
Lose is improve.
Yeah, I mean, even Apollo talking about how they did very poorly against 100 Thieves, not only in scrims, but they never even beat them in the regular season. And here they are going to Game 5, and it just feels like because there is not that pressure, because there is no expectations, they're able to play with such comfort, and they're able to play free of that extra added pressure.
Yeah, because even just thinking about it now, if you're a member of Clutch Gaming, you go, well, we weren't even expected to get here in the first place. The sky is the limit. Even if they take 2 games off 100 Thieves, people keep going, oh my God, the Clutch Gaming looks really good.
Yep.
Whereas 100 Thieves, there is that expectation. They finished first in the regular season.
That's that pressure.
They had won 9 out of their last 10 games before playoffs, and now we're seeing them here. And instead of, it's the same game record between these two, you're looking at Clutch going, wow. You're looking at 100 Thieves going, a little bit disappointed because this is supposed to be the strongest team in the NALCS.
I mean, it's just insane because TSM had that 9-1 in their last 10 as well, right? Like these two teams, when you're looking at their last 20 games, they combined 18-2. They 3-1 over TSM. They're going to Game 5 against 100 Thieves, and yeah, the pressure is definitely mounting, and you have to feel like the momentum is in Clutch's favor, and definitely there should be a lot more pressure on the side of 100 Thieves, but they're also a team full of many veterans who have done this before, who have played through that pressure before, and I would really like to see 100 Thieves put aphromoo on a playmaker, give this guy who has been so amazing all year long a chance to take over the game in the pivotal Game 5.
And when they had that kind of turnaround of their season, because 100 Thieves, it wasn't all roses at the very beginning.
No.
They had a rough start, and then when they turned it around, it was aphromoo playing Bard, Thresh, Blitzcrank, Alistar, a lot of playmakers instead of keeping Cody Sun safe. He was making plays that then people had to deal with him and answer him instead of being able to dive Cody Sun and protect him. So you're looking for those veterans, those long-time veterans, to really say, you know what, we may be down a game, but we have to go to the finals for 100.
Absolutely. And you actually think for Clutch Gaming, Isaac, you said it during their match against TSM, is with their excitement and with their kind of being like, oh my, we're actually doing this. Apollo did say that one of those banners could be ours this year. This is the thing that can happen due to the squad we have, due to the kind of work we have put in. I didn't think that could be mine, but it definitely can. One of those banners could be ours.
Yeah, and I mean, that was honestly probably the most powerful kind of scene I thought from that quarterfinals, and him talking about, I always thought the banners weren't for us, and here they are, one game from the finals.
Very much so.
It could be for you. It could be yours. And that's kind of the beauty, I think, of sport and the beauty of these playoffs. It's that any given Sunday mentality where who cares how you did in the regular season? Who cares how you did in practice? If you can show up, if you can play your very best on the day, you can be the champion.
Well, it is the Lord's Day, and Clutch Gaming are hoping for the miracle.
Hopefully no April Fools here. We're getting into the match. Game 5. The silver has been scraped, and we are into picks and bans. Talia and Rise on the side of Clutch Gaming. See that Gangplank and Azir, something Febiven was able to control the game with very well. We have yet to see that Talia throughout this matchup. Thresh gets taken away from Hakuho. One final ban before we get into the picks.
Swain is what I expect here from Clutch Gaming.
And it's a triple mid lane ban this time, red side from Clutch. So the Rise, the Talia, and the Swain.
Yeah, you expect Kate, and then I would say Xayah Rakan is not what you should go for here because Morgana is still up, and it's kind of the Kate, the counter.
At the same time, though, 100 Thieves had the option last game, and they chose to take the Tahm Kench instead of the Morgana. So maybe they're comfortable to go for it once more. They will not, but I'm very excited to see some of the adaptations. Does Ssumday and do 100 Thieves think that, okay, it wasn't the matchup on the top, it just things went bad with the jungle pressure? Is that the reason we lost? Or are they saying, no, I can't play that matchup? Where are the adaptations coming in the top lane? Because that has been I think, while most of the games decided in the bottom lane, the top lane has been very matchup dependent, has been very pivotal in getting your team that extra gold. Because when Ssumday had that Cho'Gath, he was picking up the turrets, and now on this Sion versus Shen, there's a turn for Solo to grab some of the turret gold.
And like you said, that top lane was a big part of it, but I also think the jungle matchup too, because Meteos got to play Olaf 3 games in a row, and now LirA's taken it away.
He's been in all 5 games.
Exactly, and so LirA's been able to take it away in the last one and have it here too. Blinding Camille would be big, but I don't think he's going to do it. You pick your jungler here and try to get a better matchup.
Well, I actually really like the Trundle here in this specific spot because you don't know if it's top or jungle, right? Yep. Yes, it is more likely for it to be jungle against the Olaf, but then if we see, perhaps a really good matchup in the top lane, like you pick a Cho'Gath or something like that, Trundle can do very well into those, so that could be pretty nice. Wouldn't be surprised to see either LeBlanc or the Corki. I think both of those are pretty solid answers from Febiven into the Galio, things that can sometimes take advantage, but he is obviously going for the Ezreal there and already had the Orianna locked in.
But once again, it looks like 100 Thieves so far gravitating towards a Cody Sun centered team depending on what happens with that top lane, because the Galio is a big beefy tank, can go mid or top, and then the Trundle, another person who also lowers the tankiness of his opposition. So you're looking at Cody Sun dealing a lot of damage in these fights and having a strong, beefy front line so far. I imagine Morgana would be kind of what they want on 100 Thieves side here. Potentially Braum also would be a little bit further down the tier list for them. But those are kind of the two I'm looking at here to buff up Cody Sun during the lane phase and help him later.
Yeah, and Cho'Gath is going to be banned away, so that's still going to be unavailable here. 400 Thieves, and Solo has the ability to actually save his pick for last, as they did most recently. But in that game where they actually did the Alistar blind, it really did not really work out for Hakuho. Picking that without seeing some of those final picks, and it didn't really end up giving him a lot of options for who to engage on.
Yeah, potentially, like I said, the Braum or Morgana. I think both teams are kind of highly prioritizing that here. 100 Thieves, I wonder if they'll ban another support here, because then it's potential for Clutch Gaming to just take kind of the other one of those two that are really up there in the tier list. But the Alistar making sure they don't go for that blind again.
That's pretty interesting because you can just, as you said, grab the Braum, but then maybe they're feeling like, hey, Morgana's actually a pretty good matchup into the Braum, and Morgana plus Caitlyn should be pretty heavily advantaged into an Ezreal plus Braum, but at the same time, it can go the other way. Maybe the Morgana does finally get picked up here for Hakuho because has been getting banned away. Okay.
So the Ornn was left up here. I believe it's been banned in every game except for, it looks like game 2. So 100 Thieves have just been saying, let's not have Solo on that champion. I mean, he solo killed Hansur on it, and then he was able to make a lot of plays on that champion too. The team fighting ultimate is huge.
And the question becomes, is Ssumday willing to now pick a carry into this, or is he just going to grab a Sion or a Shen for himself and just say, all right, we're just going to play that even, and there is your answer?
I think it's Sion and Braum. I think you go Braum here so you can stop the Ornn ultimate and kind of negate what he wants to do in these team fights.
I think that's a good call out. The Braum into the Ornn is very strong and may give you a bit more of a disadvantage in that bot lane 2v2, and then it just becomes, what do you prioritize more? Do you prioritize the team fighting, or do you say, hey, Afro, win bottom lane for us, get on a range support, and it is going to be the Braum.
Yeah, it just seems to be stopping the Ornn, which was a big pain point for them in terms of pick and ban. They've been banning it the whole time, so make sure that that's okay. Now you have 4 tanks and a Cody as your team composition, a classic here.
Yep. And they won last time with this, right? This was kind of 2 games ago, in game 3, essentially the draft that they got. But Hakuho is going to get his Morgana. This is a big-time player on his signature pick in game 5. And I've got to say, I like it. I like it a lot. I do think that this is what you want to do. You want to enable your star players to really take over a game. Give them that opportunity. You have LirA, who has been fantastic on the Olaf, and you have Hakuho on this playmaking Morgana, Apollo on this mobile AD carry, which he has really been excelling on. And this is going to be a very exciting game.
I love it. You find players' ability to step up towards the end of a season really shining through here as well. So we have 20 seconds to get into our final game, 100 Thieves versus Clutch. As Clutch is, or 100 Thieves, I should say, back on that blue side. Fun fact, well, depending on who you are, coming into this probably has yet to take a semifinals in the LCS. So he's looking to break that as well.
and never made the trip to the finals. He was coaching in the LCS. He's actually won Coach of the Split multiple times, but never been in a final, which is a crazy stat to me. But this is for all the marbles. Game 5, semifinals.
Yep.
Winner will face Liquid for the NA LCS Championship.
Absolutely crazy. We're moments from the rift here in Game 5. The crowd is pumped and patiently waiting. They knew it was going to 5. They're just like, let's get there already. But it was an awesome show from both teams along the way. And now we are presented with this beautiful 5th game here.
And so far, we've seen decent invades, or at least pushes early. I wonder what it is for Game 5, because people will typically play safer, play a fan out. But we've seen a lot of invades, especially with something like Braum.
And that's why sometimes being aggressive there can catch people off guard. I mean, when you're playing a Morgana plus an Olaf, certainly some strong level 1 potential to catch people, but it is going to be field of scrimmage for both teams. And to talk a little bit about the 100 Thieves side, this is very clearly a team fighting squad, right? It is 4 tanks and a Cody Sun, as you said, and you also have Trundle to shred through that Braum, or the Ornn or the Olaf there with his ultimate is going to make you a lot more susceptible to getting burst down.
Yeah, and another great thing about the Trundle is you typically say, okay, just the ultimate will actually add the utility, but the pillar is huge, and then press the attack. Enhances the damage of other people on your team once you proc it. And so the press the attack is also very effective against tanks. So he's a great duelist. He de-tanks tanks, I guess. Like makes him squishier.
Untankify.
Yeah.
Oh, Hakuho is going to get stunned here.
Ooh, and the flash. We saw that happen in Game 1.
That was kind of cocky from Hakuho, honestly, to be sticking around that long. He missed multiple bindings in a row, still just trying to fish for a little bit of Spell Thief Scold, and 100 Thieves kind of make a collapse there. They're going to punish him. Starting flashless really sucks in these sorts of matches. When you are a range support, you want to be more aggressive, you want to be pushing up, but being down a flash means you can just get straight up run down.
Exactly, and against a Braum who's going to be able to W to a minion, hit you, and we've seen aphromoo be very confident in those flash Q plays where he just gets right up in your face so he can't really miss it and then be able to burst you. So we'll see what Hakuho does here. I expect the E to come in level 2 just to make sure. But 100 Thieves, if they are somehow able to get the push here, which they are, they're going to be level 2 first. And this is a big deny here from Clutch.
Quick hits, a few more tags. Not like they're going to do too much on this. And slowly denying minions. Nice push up from Cody Sun there.
Yeah, it's like he ate a Q. How bad? But he's actually blocking so that the Ezreal can't get that last hit. He's actually sacrificing his life so that Apollo doesn't get gold.
And when you do have, overhealing your Endurance Shield and so on and so forth, you're able to do that a little bit more aggressively, sometimes trading out your life if you are sitting on full. But top lane is going to be very interesting to me to see really who gets the advantage. You can see Ssumday on the Sion, kind of taking a page out of Solo's book, and he is going minion dematerializer to deal with any potential banner shenanigans. And also, it is nice, even if there is not a banner, just to be able to use it on cannons and get the faster roam, because there is the potential for you to move over towards mid lane and try to catch someone with an ult.
They see him, but I don't think they can do anything about this. Olaf's clear is too fast and too healthy.
Pushed up as well from Febiven. Just had the...
Not healthy, but...
I mean, had the wave
healthy enough.
Yeah, I mean in clear speed. That's usually how I say it. It's just like, if you can clear the jungle quickly, it's a healthy clear, but... I will have to change my own terminology for that.
There you go. Learning on the fly. Just 3 minutes in, a back here from Ryu. Get himself sorted out. Febiven as well might take this time to go back. Might slip one more wave, it seems. He feels like the pressure is going to be added there. A teleport in from Ryu, and now there'll be a little bit of an item mismatch. Never mind, he's
because of the base timings, if Febiven leaves here, he's actually going to get stopped. But
right.
He would have lost that wave because there's not a cannon wave he's basing on, so it is a tough time to actually go back to base. And in the previous game when they had this matchup, Febiven was able to actually have the push heavily enough that Ryu had to base under his own turret, and thus that gave Febiven a chance. And we might see LirA just need to walk into mid lane and help him shove this out to actually get a good back off. LirA is spotted out on that ward, doesn't know it, and don't think we'll see the trend of super early dragons continue when his bottom lane is pushed in. That would just be way too risky.
Yeah, it doesn't have Scuttle Crab either, so it would be actually a death sentence.
You can still try.
Yeah.
That's the whole thing.
Someone's got to get threshed in this game somehow.
Yeah.
It's aphromoo and it's Hakuho. We haven't gotten once.
Yeah, it's gotten banned multiple times, but
it was bad.
Yeah, definitely don't do the Drake there, despite what Riv and Solo Q will tell you.
Hey,
Or, alternatively, try it and see what happens.
There you go. You're living on the edge. That's the way it makes it fun.
Exactly.
Where's the pressure going to be
Gotta
first?
risk it.
Up towards his red, but up towards the top side of the map. More so LirA taking definitely more jungle-oriented paths than we saw Meteos lane.
Top lane, top lane. He's going top right now, and Ssumday's in a bad spot.
Coming out of the jungle once again, undertow to lockdown right before he flashed, which added the slow, really negating the fact that he tried to get distance.
The position there was fantastic from Solo. This is why they've been banning his Ornn away. He actually uses the Ornn Q next to walls to increase the terrain and actually block you off. He did it against Hansard, knocking the Camille E out and getting a solo kill, and now he's doing it up against Ssumday, kind of stopping his pathing.
But I would say this is actually, not a bad trade for 100 Thieves if they're able to secure this Infernal. Meteos is there. They have the pushing bottom lane. They have the pushing mid lane. So Infernal for first blood, while it is more power in the pockets of Clutch right now, the way the series has been going, all the games have been long. And you definitely will favor the Infernal over that couple hundred gold in a long game.
Ooh, another Infernal? I guess that's Infernal number 2 is what we're getting next. And yeah, 100 Thieves will want to revisit that, but watch how he uses it. The Q comes up behind Ssumday, so Ssumday can't really retreat the same way he'd like. And then Solo puts himself between the pillar and the minion, so he actually blocks him off.
And honestly, Ssumday had no business flashing there. With an Olaf up in your face with that, if you get tagged by an Axe, there's no way you're getting out. If you're level 6, I can see the flash into ultimate as an escape, but at level 5, I think you just have to accept your death and hold on to that summoner because you're only exposing yourself more to the repeat game.
Small plus for Ssumday. It was a bit pushed up, so he got to walk back to lane before missing too much. Back to this cannon wave, so 36 to 34. But that pressure now towards topside. We heard the analyst desk reference in the beginning of the day. Solo with that jungle proximity, most solo deaths, but also not getting a lot of proximity himself is getting a little love from LirA this series, and it's really helping out the competition.
And it's always interesting to see those mix-ups. I always think it is intelligent, even if it's not going to be your long-term game plan. Every once in a while, do an invade. Every once in a while, hard camp a lane you never go to. Because then your opponents have to at least give you the respect that it could happen. Even if it never happens again. It's something that has to be in their back of their minds, because when you never go top laners get to play so aggressively and with so much disrespect to the jungle, and that allows them to have more of an advantage against Solo.
And if they aren't respecting it, it'll be able to get you a game like we just saw in that first one there, or I guess the last game, was if they're not respecting it, it could get you a game, and then they learn from that one and have to protect afterwards. So we're seeing kind of the adjustments here, but Ssumday still died after shoving there, and LirA is just making a great kind of change to his jungle. It's hard to figure this guy out, and people talk about it all the time where you don't know what LirA is going to do because he changes it up constantly and thinks about what you think he's going to do and does sometimes the opposite.
And it's also really nice to see him back in form, because it has been a while. He had a rough split or two, but it wasn't that long ago that he was, the best jungler in the league. He was voted, I believe it was 2016 spring, I want to say.
I think it was a year ago. In 2017 spring, when he first came over here onto Envy.
Wearing multiple hats. Called him Coach LirA because everybody just kind of listened to what he was doing.
Yeah, I mean, they didn't even really have a traditional coach. They had more of a lifestyle coach with Violet, I believe it was, and he was teaching them a lot of the game. And when people kind of criticized him somewhat for not being a tank player, but now he's looking incredibly good on tanks, right? It took him some time to actually adapt his playstyle, because in the past, he was the Lee Sin guy, the Nidalee guy, he'd take over games, and he even was pretty vocal at the start of the split saying, yeah, I have to change my playstyle, it's very new. He's undefeated on Skarner, he's looking incredible on Olaf, and this is a guy who has adapted and shaped himself to the new meta, and as a result, has his team one game from the finals.
Yeah, he was always about counter jungling, getting a large advantage there, but now everybody plays these farm junglers where it's like pretty trivial to farm your jungle, gets him out on the map, and so he's learned to be very aggressive, kind of readopt the Elise playstyle of diving early on underneath turrets alongside his team, and then finding plays later. I really think about LirA's Skarner plays back when he was taking cleanse in fights, starting off on the right foot.
Here he is on bot side. They have Morgana ulti.
Cavalry. Oh, I didn't activate it.
Gonna push out.
Just walks in.
Very anticlimactic.
That's my kind of gank. Run up, get some CS.
Run in, smite the cannon. Don't worry, guys, I'm here.
Helping him. I'm helping you shove.
Making space.
See, look at it. They're taking
damage.
Here
we go.
Apollo took a few hits there to
kind of
draw Cody Sun in. Undertow! Reckless swing. True Shot Barrage fires through. Few final touches. A shift forward. No! LirA's going to get that health back. as he swings away. Very nicely done. Great gank and good follow.
Flawless gank, like we said.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, jeez.
They saw it coming, and then he walked away, and I guess they didn't see the next one coming. They didn't respect
No
me on that
counterplay. You just
side.
came back. You're supposed to leave after you come the first time.
So Apollo took quite a few shots there, and it made him think it looked a little bit better than it was, definitely.
I love this so much because now Solo is protecting the jungle, at least seeing it here. And Meteos took the blast cone, so now Solo
It's coming up.
Few hits,
Huh?
no blast cone there, so it's going to be a long walk out. Falls on to Solo right now. He could get a lot of damage. Nicely done from bottom lane to top lane. How did LirA move that
LirA
fast?
ran all the way across the map, and he says, "Thanks for the leash." Takes the kill and the red buff back. I mean, that is he's a globetrotter at this point, just running everywhere.
Yeah, so what happened was, hold on, now, okay, he's gonna get away, is LirA backed, and when you're on the bottom side, the standard counter jungle is to go to the enemy top side and punish him, but Solo covers that because the Sion backs. But right here, Hakuho, the flash ulti, still catches Cody Sun. The range afterwards, he doesn't flash immediately, the tether will connect, and the slow makes it so that he doesn't cover those extra units.
And the fact that Meteos actually did his full Wolves camp first before going to the red meant they had time to get up there because he was on his side of the jungle. He clears first, then he goes over, and just enough time and really good team play from Clutch covering each other on both sides of the map.
Gotta say, it's an awful play from Meteos, though, because Sion was back, Ssumday was back, didn't have TP, and Solo walks in, Ward sees it, can prepare, is basically get all of his ducks in a line there to go, hey, let's hit the blast cone, let's get ready, everybody ready for this? Febiven collapse, and then he just gets taken out. Now we're looking at Clutch Gaming, 3-0 in kills right now, pressure in a lot of these lanes, up against 100 Thieves.
Those some disorderly ducks. You can't make that play without your ducks in a row.
Wow, guys. See what Clutch Gaming can do from here on out. Looking so loose, if you will, in their play. And it's kind of the same thing that happened versus TSM. They did win that first game, and the confidence in just them saying, when we won that game, we knew we could win the rest. We just had to play our game. Means they don't feel like they have to pressure anything too much. They're not in their own heads to go, oh, we need to get that last play. They're okay with small advantages, and it's just escalating for them into these advantages.
And I gotta say, LirA's clever pathing in both the TSM series and in this one is what really gives Clutch an edge over other junglers and gives them edges in their lanes.
Another big point of contention here, though, is going to be this second Infernal. We talked about it in the previous time it came up in this series. 2 Infernals is such a big edge. Meteos is down here on the bottom side. They want to try to get a kill on the bottom lane, then snowball that into a dragon.
And you can see LirA actually going for a back here.
Seems like pretty risky timing. I mean,
1,300 gold, so
it's tough because you want to be as strong as possible for this fight. I mean, Febiven just got his base off and completed his full first item. TP is available from Solo, almost available from Ssumday, but he's kind of inching his way down. And this is something where Clutch really want to even it out and take this Infernal back. But if you lose a team fight and you give up the second Infernal, then you've lost control of the game.
Yeah, this is where 100 Thieves really have to approach this fight correctly. They don't have flashes on their bottom lane. Cody Sun is a huge part of this team composition, and then they are down in gold in the first place. So they're chunking out Apollo and dealing some damage to this turret to try and dissuade a Dragon contest in the near future, but might be rough.
Yeah, I actually really like this. Solo is roaming down right now. Ssumday went back to base, so he's going to, at the very least, force his opponent's teleport if he wants to match, and we'll see. If Clutch is willing to commit to this play, I think you should just go for it.
Oh, he bannered the mid.
Oh, that's hilarious. He's actually just going to banner that to create pressure, and they could perhaps use that to now start the dragon because Ryu is going to have to answer that, and it'll take him quite some time, but still not committing to it. So
yeah, they bannered both sides, so now Solo has to say, dang, I got to go back up side. I got a banner up top. I got a banner in the mid lane as both of them complete that item at just about the same time. Febiven's going to go ahead and grab up this blue. Top turret didn't even take that much. It might be down to half by the time they get that out of there.
That minion still does a lot of damage.
Soon.
It's not fair and dumb.
TM.
But he gets it, knocks it down. And the Infernal Drake still on the table. Junglers still have not backed and purchased. 1,000 gold for Meteos, 1,600 for LirA, and you want to be very strong here, but remember the bottom lane doesn't have flashes here. Aphromoo's just came up.
And the longer that Clutch waits, I mean, their turret in the bottom lane is getting whittled down. You don't want to just give up that turret in the straight up 2v2. It's getting really, really low here. So they would like to make a play, try to get a kill, try to stop something, and get that Infernal, but they're having trouble really finding the opening, and LirA just goes back to base, so he's going to spend up his gold.
I think LirA was spotted on the bottom side going towards that brush, so the bottom lane will play a little safe. Meteos was hovering, but now he actually gets to back purchase, and if they go for a Drake, Meteos hasn't backed because he's still hovering, a little paranoid that LirA might be here still.
I've actually got to say, I'm a little bit surprised to see Iceborne as the choice for Apollo instead of Triforce, because there's not a tremendous amount of physical damage really on this other team. It mostly is just that Caitlyn as kind of that physical damage threat. Yes, Trundle could get up on you, but it's probably unlikely that he's going to be dealing consistent damage. And I do think that Triforce really helps you to have that extra DPS to punch through 4-man front line, which is kind of the reality he's going to be facing. But at the same time, you can argue the kiting that can come out there. So it is some give and take, but I'm always more on the side of, hey, you need to do enough damage to actually pressure these guys, and Ezreal's already very low on tank kill.
Yeah, but like the only way that the Sion will reach you or the Trundle will reach you is by running at your face most of the time. So indexing for that, I think is more likely. Oh my, your April Fool is me, Ezreal 3 times.
It's so good. We got to put like a button over your cough.
He's been trying to like cover my cough button so he doesn't do it, but it's happened so much. But anyway, during that, Infernal Drake does go over to Clutch Gaming, so we're even there.
That's their next move, however. LirA towards the top side of the map is bottoms clear, so they may make the look of play onto Ssumday in some extended period. A little bit of speed assistance possibly for LirA. No, just a shield. Here you go, buddy. Good guy, Febiven and Braum. Nothing crazy happening around the map. TPs are up for both of the top side. As bot gets dropped, we'll see where 100 Thieves can start to distribute this extra pressure of Cody Sun and aphromoo.
Yeah, honestly, a really good job on the bottom side of the map here from 100 Thieves. Cody Sun and aphromoo able to knock down that turret in the straight up 2v2. They're trying to rotate top and create pressure up there, but I mean, they're the ones with the range support. They're the ones who, generally speaking, you look at that and you say, okay, you're supposed to be dictating the pace of this lane. But the Braum and Caitlyn come out ahead.
Oh, wow. Shockwave there from Febiven actually gets the heal out of Cody Sun, hitting 2 there. They're all trying to rotate to the top side. Hakuho zoning as this Rift Herald very low. It'll have the eye open one more time. You gotta hit the eye and smite, but... Oh.
TP. Solo's in. Ssumday shouts. Puts himself into Solo. They gotta be careful. LirA's trying to get around the outside, but he's facing Meteos as Ryu's up and down. They want to flash forward to get the taunt on, but it does not lock down the Ragnarok. Olaf. LirA is trying to get himself out right now as Solo. Call the Forge God will slow down the fight, but Clutch Gaming loses ground for the first time here in Game 5.
They do get the Rift Herald, though, and they are going to all get out, so it just comes down to, can 100 Thieves continue this push and actually get something else off of it?
Yeah, potentially get this turret here, because all 5 of them are up here. Rift Herald was picked up as well, so LirA has that, but the bottom side, we do, actually mid lane, we have Ssumday here just knocking down this turret too. So the map advantage going to 100 Thieves, despite Clutch being the ones who had started that.
Quick hits. Where do they go here now? Solo, or Ssumday's going to just stay. He says, yeah, you're going to back, Febiven will clear mid. And it does look like they'll actually take a breather.
I'm going to be really interested to see what Clutch can actually get with that Rift Herald buff, because when you look back to last game, they had a massive power play, got a couple of kills, knocked down both the mid lane turrets, and that really was the biggest swing in that last game. But so far, 100 Thieves, despite the fact that they are down on kills, they are the ones who have been really kind of eking out these little edges, these little advantages with Cody Sun and aphromoo constantly pushing up, constantly pressuring these turrets, and they're going to be pretty comfortable just continue to do this. Unless Clutch actually pulls the trigger and makes a play to start something off, they'll just continue pushing nonstop in the 2v2.
And they don't have that same type of go button that's up to them and very available all the time like they did with the Rakan. For Hakuho, it's landing a binding, flash ultimate, so it's flash dependent here without Summoner Spellbook. And that's really the kind of key for them to go. So they have to have other people like LirA and Solo key off of that.
Yeah, exactly. And we'll see if they are going to move those pieces around. Are you going to make that 4-man play? Are you going to try to do that? Because that is pretty difficult into a Galio as well. And Ryu certainly can roam to match and turn around some of those plays pretty heavily if the Galio can come in. So it's always a give and take there, but you don't want to be bleeding turrets. You don't want to be kind of losing these objectives slowly over time. Or you can end up in that situation where, similarly to the Cho'Gath earlier, where he's just chipping away, getting more and more gold for the team, and it's not just about the advantages he's establishing for himself, it's about the global gold and the edges he's gaining for the rest of people around the map.
Slow clears of round. Nobody actually getting too big of a lead in the CS department. We see the bot lane in favor of Cody Sun, but we have not seen him tack on that damage just yet. The fight we had was Clutch Gaming kind of focused on Herald. They back off, and now they're kind of sorting out what's the next fight. We've actually seen both teams in these games just go head-to-head, and that may be what's happening.
Now they're using Rift Herald mid, and that turret is still incredibly low, so this Rift Herald will take that down and get them one back here. Huzzah! Clutch Gaming up 1,000 gold, but this entire series has been so close every single game. It's actually a ridiculous best of 5 where you just think about the #1 versus 6 team, how all these games have come down to a Baron on the setup to it in a fight.
Well, and the craziest part is how Clutch had basically one win against the remaining teams in playoffs going into the semifinals, and it was against Echo Fox. They had one win against Echo Fox, no wins against TL, no wins against 100 Thieves. They're supposed to get smashed, and it's game 5, incredibly close. They are in the advantage right now, and it's gonna again come down to playmaking, come down to team fighting, come down to that play around the Baron. Because both these teams are playing very patiently, are playing a very measured game, and it's been that way the whole day.
And it feels like both of their strengths, so they're both comfortable playing to it. The baits around Baron for Clutch, the Baron attempts for 100 Thieves in the setup, and playing around Cody. And Cody's the guy that I am looking at here for 100 Thieves because he has to be able to deal the damage, and that means that Ryu, Ssumday, and Meteos and aphromoo all have to set him up. But I'm really watching Cody here because you know that Clutch are watching him in particular, saying that's the guy we have to look at in these team fights.
Exactly, and if you make that one mistake, even if you were fully enabled with 4 men in front of you, you make that one mistake, you get caught by that Febiven shockwave, that can be the end of the game. So a lot of pressure on this young player's shoulders here. And he's on the team of veterans, but they have that trust in him. They know that he is able to kind of step up to the plate and make the plays in these late games especially. That is really where he has shined all year long.
And it's funny because we're talking about Cody Sun, this young player, but Solo is pretty much the youngest player out of all 4 of the remaining playoff teams, counting Echo Fox as a top 4 there, where Solo, he has the least experience as well, right? He came in as basically a rookie.
And that was focused by teams.
Yeah, they focused him down because he didn't really get much help and they played elsewhere, but Solo is truly very close to being a rookie in terms of he only played a few games as a sub ahead of time for Echo Fox, and then he played this split. This is his first full split on a team, and he has been performing incredibly well in playoffs up against people like Hansser and Ssumday, holding his own, and honestly not really costing Clutch much of anything. The matchups of the Cho'Gath were an issue, and they banned those out, but now you see he provides pressure, and LirA can now play to him.
Go figure. Solo, great team player.
And I mean, even in those disadvantageous matchups, he's really good in team fight. And that's one of the things that has been very impactful about his play and has been something that I've always been pretty impressed by is they put him in all of these positions. They often do not give him help. They give him losing matchups, and he loses gracefully. He gives up the minimum. And that is something that is a very undervalued skill in League of Legends in general, not just in professional play, is that the game does not always have to be about you. And it's kind of funny to say, but that's something that Solo really embodies. I mean, they focus more on Febiven, they focus more on Apollo, and really snowballing and carrying through those lanes. But if you do that and your top laner just gets blasted every game, well, it doesn't matter if you got advantages elsewhere because now you're still behind.
And it feels good to be able to work in this window you don't ever really think about, where you have actually capitalized and gotten a lot better on your play, but nobody's recognized or given you that respect to catch up, and you have this period of time where you can actually make those plays happen. And we actually had a lot of the teams in playoffs say Clutch is probably one of the weakest teams in playoffs. So that was almost expected from a lot of the teams they would face, and we're seeing a completely different Clutch now.
I think it was Doublelift who said Clutch is the weakest team in playoffs.
Right.
Just a week ago. And he may potentially be playing them
reconsider that statement.
He also said there was 5 good teams at Echo Fox.
Yeah, he changes his mind a lot.
Very true. So far, a good bit of map opened up on this one. We're only 23 minutes in, so we're going to get a lot of back and forth here through the jungle. Not much vision, rather, is placed to keep those movements safe. So things get a little crazy here. This is what it creates. Not enough vision on the map, and just right under their noses, coming through a little late, they are still going to have to respect it.
But
100 Thieves wants to check.
I do really like the attempt there from Clutch, right? Started up, they're not committing to it. It's a 3-man Baron. If it gets spotted out, great, back off. If it doesn't, hey, maybe you just snuck a series win right under their noses. So I do think those are smart attempts, and so far, the game just staying very, very stable, and it may be a play just like that that really does decide it, because it's going to be someone making a big play. There's going to be a hero in this game, because when you get to the later stages, it's about those team fights, and it's about the initiations. Who can really pull it off? Which AD carry can stay safe and take over?
That is the question. Those are the ones I'm watching. Not so much on Ryu this time. Febiven, Apollo, those squishies, we'll see Ryu going in and Cody Sun on the other side as these fights come to fruition here. A lot of things are going to be crossing their paths. Ssumday and Solo going to be taking out these fights. We see Clutch Gaming just saying, stop the backs, give us a little more breathing room on the map as they set up to get 25 minutes in. A Mountain Drake next as well.
Oh, yeah, they could even up the Drakes 2 apiece, but double Mountain Drake just means that Baron for 100 Thieves would be so easy to do. Despite their composition looking like it's pretty much just Cody Sun for damage, when you have the time to just stand there and wail on something as a Trundle, you deal a decent amount, especially when you have those double Mountain Drakes. So that's something that you have to watch out for here as Clutch Gaming. But they do have a lead right now, but it's very, very small, 2,000 gold. And a lot of it's on the jungle and the support.
Dematerializers, never, ever going to get that right the first time. On the top side of the map, really slowing down Solo's banner. Other way working in favor here of Ssumday, but they were able to get Clutch Gaming to the top side and get that turret down fast.
I just find it really funny too, because Ssumday is using them pretty much only when there's a Baron buffed up camping minion that's actually going to have like damage behind it of like a full wave or even Solo there. He's used only 2 in this entire game, and we're 25 minutes in, almost 26. So he's very kind of stingy with them, making sure it's only the situation where he absolutely has to use them because he wants to save them for the potential Baron later.
Right, we went from game 1 and having about 4 overall in the game, maybe 5, to just that one.
Fight on top side.
Sorted out.
Febiven Shockwave Ryu.
Ryu Solo, he gets taken down. Clockwork wind up in another move of the ball, is able to take him down. 100 Thieves losing ground. A half health Meteos takes a heal and gets himself to safety with that subjugate.
And they should just go straight to Baron. I mean, you got the ultimate out of Meteos. Ryu is down. You can start this and turn with the Ornn ultimate potentially to look for a fight. Sion is TPing in, and this could be a game decider.
Shockwave is down. That's what they want when they funnel in.
Hakuho's so low.
Bullet hit. They flash over it, but he's going to be able to pop a few up here. Watching Solo on the backside. Hakuho and the rest of the team move their skills in. A hit from Solo as he breathes the fire all over 100 Thieves. They run for the hills, and Clutch Gaming has position on Baron.
Both frontliners there were really pushing back the backline damage. I mean, Solo had an incredible ultimate, knocking out multiple people, following that with a charge that knocked up even more people.
It is again.
But at the same time, Sion is zoning them all out. So here is that 1v1 play. Febiven onto Ryu, catches him with that shockwave, and straight up just goes with a chase down. Ryu failing his flash over the wall. Very critical mistake.
Yeah, E'd and then came back for the ward anyway. And yeah, the flash over the wall, big. With Febiven here, he doesn't have Shockwave, so it's not a big team fight ultimate from him. But then he walks to the right, and then when he goes back to the left, he actually steps on a trap, preventing him from dealing more damage.
But watch Solo now. So Ssumday's zoning everyone out. Solo on the other side, knocks them up, charges into the wall, knocks more members up again, but the follow-up is not there, as they're both being kind of zoned out by the frontliners, and both teams end up surviving it. Comes down to only 1 kill, but the TP advantage is on the side of Clutch, so they could look to repeat and try to force another play here.
That's what they're best at, both of these teams, is just lighting the fuse immediately. Once again, LirA just over the wall to get full vision of what's on the other side.
Look where Solo is. Solo is from the side here. He is potentially looking for a flank, but is going to go back.
Binding landed.
Quick charge, quick hit, getting that percent health
shield
damage
down,
on the Brittle. Is he going down? Is he going up? No, straight at the team down the line. And let's see if they keep going down the tracks again.
Back to Baron.
Clutch Gaming happy with slight advantages in HP, but Meteos can get quite healthy here as he just takes down minions around him. Over to the Mountain Drake. They're trying to prevent this. The second one to 100 Thieves, so it's imperative Clutch either wins the fight and gets out, or at least stops 100 Thieves from getting this Drake.
100 Thieves has no flashes, though, so it's hard to really get into the middle of this fight unless they want to ult in. Ssumday, and Meteos gets caught!
Hit, that's one down. Smites are gone. They can easily get the Dragon now. They've prevented exactly what they want, and now they can put the next thing on their plate. Clutch Gaming doing well, 5-0.
And they are sending Solo down to the bottom lane, but I think they should go to Baron again, continue to try to force this, because there's no flashes on 100 Thieves, there's no jungler available, and TP is up on Solo.
Exactly, there's no smite available, and Clutch they could very well try to do it, but it looks like they're just going to say no, play it safe, and that's been that reserve style from them where they just don't take those risks.
Yep.
And sometimes there is such a thing as playing too safe, right? And I do think that this is one of those cases where you have to wonder, should you have not at least tried? I'm not saying you have to fully commit, but you are relatively healthy. You're out on the map. There's no jungler. There's not a flash to be seen on the other team. Yeah. That is a Baron I think you can, at the very least, start and look to turn and see if you can get a fight.
It's something that 100 Thieves would have to go all in on. It'd be Ssumday and Ryu in that fight. It's not a, we can try to guess this or yo-yo it back and forth, so it would have been very interesting.
And the more you don't go for those types of plays that could win you the game, the more chances 100 Thieves have to make them themselves and win the game. So 100 Thieves, right, this will be the moment that if Clutch Gaming don't win this, 100 Thieves look back and go, thankfully they didn't do that. And Clutch have to go, why didn't we make that play? But they're playing safe, but it might be too much, like you said, Ezreal.
Yeah, it may just be too much. I mean, it's one of those things where Cody Sun is getting stronger and stronger, scaling up on this Caitlyn. You have a Trundle who is going to be a beast at kind of shredding through this Ornn in the later game fights. And you always have to be worried about that, but at the same time, I definitely do give the advantage to a late game Orianna versus that of a Galio.
Oh yeah, and you see Meteos almost has his Knight's Vow here to protect Cody Sun, and Febiven has kind of been the decider here in this later part of the game. Early it was LirA with the top lane gank, but now it's Febiven, the solo kill onto Ryu, and then the shockwave there as well. He does so much damage catching people out.
And he's on 4 items. I mean, this Orianna is massive. He has his Death Cap, he has his full completed Seraphs, he has his Void Staff there, 3 items, excuse me, plus boots, and it is looking to be at such a strong point of the game where when you have the spell penetration plus the Death Cap, you hit that one critical shockwave on either the mid laner or even Cody Sun here. Neither of those guys have any MR. They can get completely deleted.
Yeah, I've been loving what he's doing with the build too, because we saw that Ryu would go for more of the Death Cap second, but Febiven, he goes for the Void Staff second because he's against all these tanks and he just wants to be able to be relevant throughout the entire point of the game instead of have this power trough in the middle.
And it's also really nice because then it makes it so you can have more options as far as the targets, right? If you skip the magic penetration, then you basically only can hit those squishies. Whereas even if he hits a shockwave on, you know, a Trundle and a Braum or whatever, it can still have a really big impact.
And I love that he also went for the spell penetration boots here, because so many mid laners now just go Merc Treads, especially against somebody like Galio.
Woo.
Hold on, Apollo. Gonna get healed up here by the Redemption. He's gonna be okay, but that turret does go down.
Love the Redemption purchase within these fights. Tanks mean long fights, and being able to heal yourself back up for the entire team is huge. A nice undertow through 2 members. Pillar goes up, but how much is it going to get LirA to stick in place? A few tags of damage does not connect the concussive blows, and they get themselves out.
Yeah, and they were hoping to kind of force LirA into using his ultimate there, but they're not able to scare it out of him, and the waves in the side lanes are starting to push here for 100 Thieves, but Clutch has the inside track on Baron.
Yeah. But 100 Thieves have inside track to mid and potentially that bottom lane that's already incredibly low on the tier 2.
Oh, solo. Taking a bit of extra damage to start this one off. Command Protect from Febiven. You can see the size of that shield.
The minion isn't paying attention to the turret. He's hitting another minion. Don't do it.
Gotta turn around. Oh. He goes down the fight in mid, so kind of waiting for that to happen. The turret should fall in just a moment. Does that activate the fight? It should not.
No.
They're still playing calm in mindset here as they're in the mid lane, just jockeying for position, letting the minions do the work.
But the fact that these are waves that are picked up by 100 Thieves earlier and then they slow push, and it's just wasted gold on Clutch's side. We're looking at a 1.2k gold difference.
It's almost nothing at this point. 33 minutes into the game, it's all really down to how you play the fights, how you pilot your characters, and so much comes down to who can really start off the fight really well. Can Ornn find that perfect ultimate that is not going to get blocked by Braum? Or can we see Ryu comboing up with Ssumday perhaps and finding that dive to the back line?
That's what I've been loving so far from the play from Solo, is he's actually waiting and the team is baiting out, or at least forcing enough damage that a aphromoo puts up his shield. It happened in the last fight where they focused him down, tried to bait it out, then they went for the Ornn ultimate afterwards. He's not doing it to have it just get absorbed by the Braum. He's waiting until the Braum has no way to block it.
One thing that is a little bit of a concern, you have to say, for 100 Thieves is the fact, or sorry, rather for Solo here on Clutch's side, is the fact how much less farm he's actually picking up in Ssumday, because he's been spending so much time grouped, looking for that potential play, looking for that potential engage, where Ssumday has been in the side lanes more, and really, you know, because of that, is that completed item ahead. He has the Stone Plate, which is a difference maker, and it's 100 Thieves that are starting the Baron here, spotted out now.
Great to have the ball in there. They will be able to keep vision without having to play a ward war game, but now they try to get the upper hand and go goal side mid. Looks like they'll leave it in the river for now, as nobody really is playing that. Nobody wants to lose game, and they're all playing very cautious here. Good hits onto LirA. Shields there. He should just heal back up nice and quick before even getting back into the fight. Oh, side Ryu and the top lane. Ssumday comes in. Febiven, oh, popped up, knocked up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and on the floor.
That's the first kill of the game for 100 Thieves, and they get it onto Febiven, and they get both his summoners. This opens up an opportunity for them to crack the game wide open.
Yeah, Apollo just shifted in there, and the whole team comes in to support, but they're now getting potentially flanked. We'll see if they can pull off a fight.
Glacial Fissure just missing on solo as the Black Shield was on. They are being deterred from the Baron. LirA makes it the 50-50, and they're doing a hell of a lot of damage.
Cody Sun is low.
Cody Sun low, just dodging out of the binding
close.
with the 90 caliber net. Solo's in their eyes, but what target do they want? They can subjugate onto Solo, and it looks like they're going to be going on to Hakuho. Now a little bit more shots onto the Ragnarok. Olaf, call the Forge God, knocked through, but it's only going to hit aphromoo on the backside. One more hit, concussive blows. Oh, Meteos tries to get the bite, but it's just too short with the double flash from both players.
They're actually buying so much time, though. Febiven is almost respawning here. Despite the fact they lost another kill, Febiven is now up on the map. He's running over here. The 100 Thieves are going to burn this down very quickly. We'll see if Clutch can delay for Febiven to arrive.
LirA down to half. Ragnarok not even halfway cooled down. Solo is trying to use all of his HP to say, we're giving time for Febiven. Is it enough time? Shockwave is up. The pile is in. Apollo shifts down. The entrance coming in as Ryu tries to reposition himself to defense on the fight. And the Shockwave will not come through as they have to respect the damage from Febiven.
I cannot believe that Clutch hung on there, fighting off that bear for so long while Febiven was respawning. He just barely gets back to hang on in that fight. They do lose a couple kills, but they do not lose the Baron, and that is the critical thing.
Exactly. There's 3 kills that go over to 100 Thieves. Their first 3 kills of the game, but the gold is just dead even now. Exactly.
Insane.
What a tense fight there, honestly. So close. The slimmest of margins on both sides.
Here it is again.
Yeah, this is Ssumday ulting out of the bush with Ryu following up. He hits Febiven, Ryu W's. Even though the cleanse comes out, he catches Febiven even after the flash with the backwards E.
And that's honestly the intensity of those late game fights. You would have had the flash immediately to avoid that original ult. But here it is, Clutch kiting back and forth, trying to get damage in. Look at Apollo putting a lot of pressure onto Cody Sun there, which was a really big deal. And you see the Clutch is never overcommitting to the engage. They're moving forward and saving all of their escape abilities to then retreat, to try to give up the minimum. So they lose a Morgana kill, but they have the ultimate to get out. They have enough poke from Apollo, and that Ezreal really was the hero in buying time.
Yeah, and man, during that time, Ssumday ulted 3 times. It is a 36-second cooldown ultimate on his Unstoppable Onslaught. It's actually ridiculous. He caught Febiven, caught Hakuho, and then his last one, he almost got another kill for his team.
Choo-choo. Absolutely crazy. Got trains coming down the track from Solo. Ssumday trying to turn into a train himself and make things happen. Everybody doing what they can to throw themselves into a fight. Hakuho down to about 70% HP from one wham, bam, thank you, ma'am.
I mean, Cody Sun is putting out a lot of damage at this point. When you got a rapid fire crit this late in the game on a squishy, it's almost all their health. And Banner doing work, again, up in the top side, getting that farm for Ssumday, picking up a lot of extra gold with that. And they're looking for a fight here. Solo, gotta back off.
2 hits, doesn't get locked up. Apollo staying steady so he doesn't get hit up by the roar. The Slayer from Ssumday, and it looks like they set up once again in mid. What a low kill game for the amount of action we have seen.
Yeah, but there's that wave top lane now that needs to be caught. It's about to hit the turret, and that's just wasted gold again here. You can see 100 Thieves slowly but surely just start getting a lead from an even point based off of their catching waves and Clutch aren't. I was looking at the banner of commands. Solos has done 1,600 damage, now 2,200 damage to turrets. But then Ssumday has done
Solos got out.
They still have the shield there from Hakuho. It's going to give him a little bit of distance, but the follow-up damage is too much. The front end, the middle, and the back end is enough to take down Solo. Just about over a minute on these death timers.
Yeah, Apollo wasn't with the team, so they couldn't get back up there to fight, but they have 4 members. They need to try to delay once more. And they now see that the Baron has not been started, so they can back off. They know 100 Thieves is baiting, and that's going to force 100 Thieves' hand to start this Baron.
Good defense. Meteos ready to put that pillar up and stop anybody coming in. LirA could deny the slows with Ragnarok if he wants to get close, but that's going for broke. That's possibly the game if they lose too much ground here. 2,800 HP. The smites coming up to about 1,000 damage in the game are very close to. Hakuho gets the Zhonya's down. They've deterred them now from the Baron. They take down Hakuho along with his flash, and 100 Thieves turn to the Baron.
Solo's up in 8 though, and he has TP, so they may have possibly delayed long enough again. We'll see if they can hold on.
Got a ward in the pit.
He's up in 2 seconds. He can TP back into this if they want to try a 4v5, but that would be very risky.
They're going to respect it. He's actually teleporting down so he doesn't get stopped on the home guard right away. It might make more of an impact
Ryu's
on his way
looking to
into
flank
the fight, but he just presents himself in the front.
Here comes Ryu.
Ryu could be right there. They don't have the wards. He flashes in. Febiven could hit a beautiful shockwave on the back line. Ryu trying to make his way in. The damage for CG just may not be enough, but is it a turnaround? Solo doing what he can. Apollo flashes forward. Febiven, it is up to the Orianna, and it looks like he will pull through another shockwave to turn the fight in Clutch Gaming's favor.
It's an absolute bloodbath. This game could not be closer. Game 5 of the semifinals. Both teams refuse to go down.
Let's see that one more time, because this is a flank that looks like it's going to decide the game. It is a 4v5, but Febiven's ultimate pulls off the impossible here. He chunks them down, and then with aphromoo dead, you can call in the Ram, and it hits Cody.
The Ornn ulti over, and then follow Apollo here. Jumps in over the wall, gets the final shot onto Cody Sun, gives up his life for it, but it allows Febiven to clean up the end of this fight and allows Clutch again to hold on against all odds at the Baron.
Absolutely insane impact plays from this man in the mid lane on Clutch Gaming. It does take a team, but the spot-on ultimates from Febiven have turned these games around time and time again.
Febiven came over to North America from the EU LCS, and then immediately there was almost no conversation about how great of a player he was. He had solo killed FLICKR. He'd been a top 4 finisher at Worlds, and even just the split before he got here, he was the all-pro EU LCS mid laner.
Yep.
He's showing now that you still have to take this guy seriously. He's almost 100 CS up in this mid lane. His Orianna ultimates and his impact cannot be overstated. He has been critical in this game.
This game getting pushed to the limits. You guys talk about how fast these ultimates are coming back up, and we're seeing multiples in these fights. It's a window that players are not used to as well, so you're misconsidering quite a few things as you go in.
Both AD carries now hit 6 items. Bloodthirster purchased up there for Apollo. Cody Sun already on 6 items himself. We could see those optimizations done. Boots perhaps traded out later on, but these guys are fully online. Febiven is massive here as well, adding in the Leandries to his already huge roster of items, and they're heading again back over to the Baron pit.
Yeah, for Apollo, I think this is a little greedy though, because it means he has no QSS. Mercurial will have a decent amount of lifesteal on it, but it just means he doesn't want to get burst by the Caitlyn like he did earlier.
And that banner is pushing heavily in the bottom side, so if Clutch can keep them up here, that will get some work done.
Apollo keeps himself safe over the wall. Double buff for the Ezreal to keep himself going. We're looking at max items for your AD carries right now as they try to put out the most DPS in these fights with the protection of basically everyone around them. And the thing is, Cody has a bit. Apollo trying to give that self.
Ooh. This wave on the bottom side is massive. Look at this. Multiple cannons, a banner cannon. They're fighting in mid lane.
Solo calling the ult, and he's actually going to hit the Forge God back. Solo could go down. He tries to flash himself out. A little more distance there. The follow from Ssumday, but the chase is quite a lot.
Shields.
And they may be able to turn it around. How much do you want from one guy? Or do you turn the target? Clutch Gaming loses a bit of ground, but it could mean Baron for 100 Thieves.
But Solo has Warmog, so he doesn't have to back here. He's going to get full HP again. LirA, though, not offered that type of luxury. He doesn't have it.
Look at his health go up on the top right of the screen.
LirA has flash, though. He could look for a steal. This is risky. This could decide the game here if they go for it.
Gotta watch the ball. Where does Febiven put the ball?
2,800 HP on the Baron. They've turned off it now. It's just doing damage to Ssumday.
The minions in the bottom lane are so big now. Clutch just needs to buy time for this wave to crack this inhibitor, and they're trying to send them back to base. Massive wave pushing on the top side again. Clutch can be the ones to start up the Baron here, and looks like they're heading for it.
Slowly but surely, they want to clear the vision and say, do you think we're doing it? Can we catch you on the potential? Maybe.
They started now.
They have Ssumday on the bot side. Teleport is up. They have a ward just to the left. He clears as many as he can, and he gets himself immediately back into the river. Solo gets hit up, but they've played this game before. They've danced this dance. He can take quite a bit of damage, and the team can turn it around, but LirA is the one that has to be careful. 100 Thieves sees a fight they can win, but Clutch will not let them through the door.
And I gotta say, seeing Apollo shift around these fights, sometimes shift aggressively, is refreshing, because this is the guy that we always said, if the game is in his hands, he never makes the game-winning play. He never has the courage to do so. Backline, Varus, poke, that type of player. But now we're seeing him be more aggressive when they need him most.
I mean, Clutch just forced out the TP from Ssumday from the bottom lane. Ryu just TP'd to his tier 2 turret to try to rush this down. If they can stop this, if Clutch can stop this Baron, Ryu will have no global at all. And remember, LirA does have his flash, so yeah, both globals down. I think that was a pretty big mistake, honestly, from Ryu to waste that teleport on a tier 2 turret. Like, it basically went nowhere.
Yeah, it's a desperation play here from 100 Thieves. They think they see an opening. Remember, Clutch got that first game win against 100 Thieves here because they rushed a Baron, because 100 Thieves had the Rise ultimate in, and their intentions were red. So Clutch are saying they know how to play around Baron, and they understand how 100 Thieves want to as well.
And the question becomes, can Clutch actually now establish control in the side lanes, get an advantage because those globals are down? And we also have to remember, as this game goes longer and longer, Clutch has access to essentially another item and a half type thing, or another half item with the Ornn upgrades. You can get that 6.5 items, and you can keep building further and further past that, which is always going to be an edge.
Clean up.
It's actually really good, because normally you can't...
stomach ache. Right, it triggers slowly on the next
one. Well, normally you step in one trap, and you can't actually step in another. There's a lockout, right? Even if you aren't stunned or anything, you just walk in the next one.
LirA is taking quite a bit of damage here in this late game. There's also that Cloud Drake still hanging out, but right now they're like, Baron's enough to fight over, and nobody wants to give up the top side of the map.
LirA has identified, though, that Warmogs is exactly what he needs here. So he takes all that. Now he's just full HP again. Because if it comes down to a Baron dance and it's all about that poke and who gets chunked out and they have to back, you don't want to be the guy or the tank that happens to. So we have 3 Warmogs so far in this game.
I really want to see Solo get out to the side lane, though, and get these waves pushing again, because he's had this TP advantage for all this time, and the waves are building and building and building. And if you leave that too long, it opens up such opportunities for 100 Thieves to get position around the Baron, to get pressure on your base turrets. And 100 Thieves is recognizing this. They are starting the Baron. They have spotted it out, I believe, with that blue orb, but I'm not sure if it was already there.
Man.
No, they don't know.
They don't know.
That blue orb was already there, so it was already denied the vision.
It would be Apollo right now who has to check. He has the blue orb himself.
Oh, God.
It's going down so slow, though.
Yeah, it's 2 people, though, and if you get it this low, you just have people rotate, and then you're able to commit to it.
It's the 1-2.
Oh, I think LirA is starting to get a little bit suspicious. They threw it.
But they're only
They spotted it with Redemption. Hakuho just spotted it.
Beautifully done.
They're going to shoot it down, though. LirA can go in.
The smite over the wall. It's going to be the hit. No, it actually goes to Cody Sun. 100 Thieves are going to be able to grab the Baron. LirA tries to get out. Ragnarok just wearing off. He's got the black shield. Solo knocks back, and Clutch Gaming say, forward for the fight. Ssumday's going to be on the back line now, and 100 Thieves is getting routed by Clutch Gaming.
And this is ridiculous. They end up having this 2-man Baron turn into a collapse, and right now you would go Clutch, Elder Dragon, but it's still Cloud 47 minutes into the game.
And it's Cody Sun who actually secures it. Meteos missed the smite there, and LirA just barely not able to get his smite off. Clutch will get the mid lane turret. They'll take the red buff. They'll go to the dragon and likely prompt the spawning finally of that Elder. But 100 Thieves will have their time on the map with the Baron buff, and we'll see what they can get done.
Ornn upgrades for now. We're getting to that point where we need to spend a little extra cash as we see Solo upgrading his Abyssal Mask, and we'll see some other core items around the map start to change around.
Yeah, the boots for the Phantom Dancer here for Cody Sun. Yeah, this gets down to about 1,200 HP, and you never see it drop below that. The headshot comes in at the Baron at the same time as the smite comes down from Meteos.
Yeah, right in. Meteos blast cones over. 1,700, 1,200. There's the smite. Yep. No chance really for LirA. So not sure if that was actually called out in time, the crit with the smite. If it was, credit to 100 Thieves, because that is essentially unstealable there from LirA. But that is a close one. And I mean, if LirA steals that, they won the fight anyway. If they get the Baron too, that can be devastating. So really, really close in this series. I can't get much closer.
I know. They got the Baron. They're still down in gold. They need to crack an inhibitor with this and push their advantage here. We see Ssumday has used his banner.
Playing it smart, saying the second turret's too hard to defend. They'll leave it to the base defense.
Apollo even swapping out his Iceborne for a Triforce and Ornn upgrading it. So that is, you know, his 6.5 items essentially.
Yeah, I was going to say, he doesn't have anything to Ornn upgrade unless he gets the Trinity Force, because the Iceborne isn't one you upgrade, none of the other items for Ezreal. So yeah, he's forced to swap there.
Look at this, they're just tanking for the cannon. aphromoo pops up the shield, Ssumday moves in front. They're looking for the engage, Ornn ulti!
Or hit, they're gonna get in. True Shot Barrage does pass through the team, but not doing too much damage to the tanks in the front line. LirA getting skipped up just on the edge of the knockup from Ssumday. Ragnarok is on, but they're not gonna be able to use it to get back in the fight as they sort it out. Nobody goes down, you only lose a little bit of health.
A big wave on the top side though for Clutch, and it comes down so much to the map control, to the minion waves in the side lanes, and all these tanks have bought up their Warmogs, so Ssumday regenning back up, they will continue the push.
I absolutely love that though, from the side of Clutch. Solo saw that he was blocking for it, no shield available, the Ornn ulti comes through, and he's just waiting for it to come back off of cooldown here, about 30 more seconds.
Turret should go down as they can't really get to that pile of people with the minions behind it. 10 to 8, 50 minutes just crested as the base finally gets cracked open in favor of 100 Thieves. Clutch Gaming looking for a window to still fight. They always have been.
And Clutch is so dependent upon their ultimates to fight. If you don't have Shockwave, if you don't have Ornn ulti and Ragnarok, you cannot really fight. When you have a Caitlyn, you're much less dependent upon those ultimates. It's all based on the auto attack type style. So as long as they're blocking for Cody Sun, 100 Thieves can continually fight. Where Clutch, as soon as that first fight broke down, they can't fully engage. They need to wait.
Yeah, and that Ornn ultimate, it's a much longer cooldown now since the nerfs to him. Ssumday has that 36-second ultimate on Unstoppable Onslaught, and then it's a 70-second cooldown for Solo. So twice as long there when he gets to pick his fights. And he still has to even worry about aphromoo shield because of the Braum pickup, but we're back to an even game here.
Oh, it's pretty crazy. Febiven now completes his 6 items. This Orianna cannot get any stronger. I mean, it's hard to overstate the importance of this late game Orianna. We know the death cap is in there. That can be upgraded. But, I mean, if this guy hits the right shockwave, it can be lights out. If you miss it, likewise, but for the other team, right? And there's so much pressure because of that. When you have this one ability that everyone is watching, when you have this one ability that your team is counting on, and their whole team is trying to track and avoid, that decides games.
A little harder.
And this is one of the longest games that I have seen on patch 8.5 in particular, because normally it's Elder Dragon and then second Elder Dragon. You're like, okay, 35 minutes, 8 minutes later comes up. First Elder Dragon hasn't even spawned yet.
It's still the Wind Dragon.
Like, this game could potentially keep going without those kind of rush the game down mechanics being a part of it with the Elder Dragon because of that.
They're conservationists, the last of his kind. They're not willing to kill him off.
It's funny though, because like so much has revolved around the Baron that they haven't been around the Cloud Drake, but at the same time, I've always thought about it where it's like, if I'm behind, I don't want to take Cloud Drake because the next one's Elder and they're going to take it.
And you get
so I don't want to help
fight.
them.
And even if you're even,
but it's even.
If you feel like, hey, we are better around the Baron, then taking down that Dragon gives them an option to actually trade. Whereas if it's just the Baron, you're forced into these team fights. But I mean, this is going to be an explosive last fight, certainly. One thing I've got to say, though, it really hasn't felt like any of the Galio ultimates have been super impactful.
Right.
It always feels like they're more, reactive, used more defensively. They haven't found that big engage, but they are pushing into the base. We are 53 minutes in. Death timers are massive at this point.
Cast back to week 3, day 1. This first matchup was 48 minutes between these two teams, so they know they can push each other to the limits here. But 5 games in, completely different story as they still try for this middle inhibitor. 100 Thieves is being stopped at the steps of the base for Clutch Gaming.
That matchup you just mentioned, Riv, that one that went really long, 48 minutes, that was one where Clutch Gaming were up 10,000 gold and they lost to 100 Thieves at the 9th hour there. So that's one where Clutch could be the same position here. The game, they've just been going back and forth this whole time, and it's been such a long one, and they have 100 Thieves on the step of their base right now. And 30 seconds on that Baron.
It's also been really cool to see how Apollo in these later stages using the Ezreal ult to try to get better control of the side lane waves, ulting out, stacking waves, trying to get them pushing in their favor without having to go there himself. So, you know, these little things can be very impactful, but anytime Cody Sun gets a single shot off on Hakuho, it feels like he has to completely back off. I mean, it can be up to half your health.
10 seconds for fun. Baron's about to spawn. Looks like we'll get repositioned on the map. I mean, inhibitor's down. Maybe they don't leave if they can keep pressuring the inhibitor. Get a simple fight if they want instead of having to take damage from the Baron. It definitely seems like the better option for now if they can keep this poke going. The Warmogs, however, extending this fight. I believe it's been about 5 minutes now. They've kind of just been milling about in the mid lane, doing the love taps.
These shields on Apollo are getting pretty insane. You'll see when he actually gets the Orianna shield and the black shield plus his Bloodthirster shield.
Yep.
You know, he can have 700, 800 worth of extra health there.
Magical wizard.
We now have a second banner in play from aphromoo here, up on the top side of the map. Starting to knock down that turret. It just died. There they go. There's the Ornn ulti.
He gets 3.
3-man hit. They're looking for Ryu, but Ssumday's going to be on the backside there with Meteos. That's a lot of damage, and it's just Cody Sun absolutely putting the DPS into solo. Shockwave goes off. Everybody's able to flash to a bit of safety. Meteos and Ssumday, the lowest ones, not the worst. Watch him heal up on the left side of the map here. Same thing with solo.
Exactly. Doesn't mean that much, but like you said before, Zale, ultimate dependent team fight from Clutch Gaming, and they've blown 2 of those big ultimates.
Yeah, the Shockwave being down is really the most critical one, so they have to watch that. The Shockwave only caught Meteos. There's still going to be about 30 seconds remaining on that. They're TPing back in, and 100 Thieves may try to heavily force a fight here.
100 Thieves have better position, though, because there's no turret on that middle inhib. They can always go there if they want.
Ssumday takes the damage. He says, give me a few minutes. Let me get Warmogs back in here. And they'll be okay. They are going to take that middle positioning as Ryu comes back. They don't fully engage the fight.
The side lanes are so heavily pushing for opposite teams. Massive wave in the bottom lane for Clutch. Big wave in the top lane here, 400 Thieves. And Apollo didn't have any minions to heal off of because they're dancing around the Baron. So it's 100 Thieves just straight up starting this up. Solo actually went back to base. He's got a TP back right now.
Blast cone to get over. LirA's trying to squeeze his way in from the bot side. Baron's down to 2,800. They're going to peel off the fight as they see them coming in. Ragnarok's down. They're able to get a few ultimates out here and cost Clutch Gaming some imperative abilities. Solo, Shockwave up, down on the bot side, big damage. That Shockwave hits aphromoo and Ssumday. Aphromoo shield up, could go down. They get the damage perfectly back on Solo. Locked up, finally taken down. This could be it. Have they cracked it open enough to get all the way into the base? LirA taking damage. Hakuho trying to throw Dark Bindings from the fog on that right side. They have vision denial, and he's cleansed out as Cody Sun quickly getting himself into position. Bot lane is taking huge damage from minions for Clutch.
They're going to lose an inhibitor. 100 Thieves have got to get back to the base. And
they don't want to delay them. They are stopping the backs. aphromoo almost for sure to go down here, or at least have an extended back. Inhib broken by Clutch Gaming for their work.
And that's insane, because they had lost their middle inhibitor turret way earlier, and it's just that gigantic push that's set up from earlier.
Yeah, the Ezreal ultimates have been so clutch, clearing out the minion waves. 100 Thieves basically had the same push going, but Apollo shut it down. 100 Thieves, though, back to the Baron again. Minions in the mid lane may knock down that inhibitor now for 100 Thieves, and this game just doesn't stop.
Coming up on 60 minutes, mirrored dragons on both sides of the rift. As either team, game to game, has controlled the objectives. Now we're on the final one. It's going down. Febiven steals it with a command move dissonance. Are you kidding me?
Febiven pulling off the moves to save the game here. He didn't even commit the shockwave. Rivy still has it. They are back in the base, 57 minutes in. They lose the inhibitor, but they have the Baron, and they will have their time on the map.
That was necessary. Cody Sun crits it for 448 as Febiven moves and hits the W here. Watch this headshot, or this crit come through here. There, it's 1,100 is the last number you see. 700 of that is from Febiven.
Oh, it's been 100 Thieves stealing those away. It was the Morgana binding from aphromoo. It was the Feast from Ssumday stealing those dragons, and Febiven with the game on the line, with the series on the line, finals on the line, steals a Baron on this Orianna, and that is huge.
And look at this. We actually see a Rage Blade for Apollo. He has swapped out items now.
Swapped out his boots.
This is a Rage Blade that doesn't have the percent AD or percent AP. This is the flat stack up.
Right.
He's looking for a ton of attack speed for that Blade of the Ruined King. He has to get through tanks, so he's looking for that to stack.
But he is going to be lower on mobility, and it's hard to play this style where he's zipping in and out without those boots to aid him in avoiding some of these skill shots. He's got to be careful.
He's been putting himself on the front line, so it's got to be even trickier now, and he's said, I can do it. He's taken it upon himself. The rest of the team as well playing very good here as Clutch Gaming have 100 Thieves backs against the wall.
And that's what you want to see, Riv. As you said, he's saying, I can do this. I can pull this off.
Yes.
You need the confidence. That banner, you're chasing it.
LirA gets himself out. Could have been messy, but the Black Shield has come up huge for Hakuho's main. That wheelhouse Morgana he's able to get in the last game. Everybody's stepping up for Clutch Gaming here in what many thought would be a 100 Thieves moving on, and not the case. 5 games strong, and now 30 seconds from 60 minutes in as these teams push each other.
If you told me that Clutch Gaming were going to be in the finals, I would have called you crazy. They have 3 members of the 10th place team Envy, and then the team that finished got knocked out of the first round of playoffs last split, and then they got a different solo laner in both lanes. They picked up a pretty much inexperienced top laner, only a handful of games to his name in the LCS, and then they got Febiven. What's the synergy gonna be like? And right now, Clutch are showing that they potentially deserve to fight for number 1 and 2.
Absolutely insane as well. Apollo feeling strong to stay on the front line, gets himself to safety as you heard the crowd counting to that 60-minute mark. We have crusted an hour into the game, and we'll see who can really play this one to the max. 100 Thieves now have to show that they can take a hit this late in the game. If they can, it makes them even more of a formidable opponent going on to the finals, but Clutch has shown so strong, they may not let 100 Thieves show that.
Never have I ever seen an hour into the game a take of a cloud break.
The longest surviving dragon ever.
Do we have the earliest
The
and the latest?
time.
We're the earliest and the latest cloud break in the series?
Good night, sweet prince.
May flights of Drake slay thee to thy rest.
Oh my word. Did we just vocab change? Is that what an hour does to you? Jeez.
As long as we're going that direction with our vocabulary.
Oh man. Looking at only a small gold lead right now. 7-7 in turrets, a little bit of math. 11 are on each side, so you can tell 4 left to fall. I don't even know if we're going to be getting to those for each side. A team's going to want to be one and done if they can find their way to the Nexus turrets.
So right now, 100 Thieves, there's so much damn gold in the game. They're buying Zerat portals. We just saw Cody Sun. He bought a Banner of Command, used it, sold it, rebought his items. This is the point in the game that we are at.
And it's honestly a really smart move to make. It's not always going to be a game decider, but so much has been about those side lanes, and you can use the banner, sell it, get a Zerat, use that, sell it, rebuy your items, and these are optimizations that you should be going for. Is it always going to decide the game? No. But could it decide the game? Yes. We have seen how much these matches have been about side lane control, especially 61 minutes into the game. It's about map positioning. It's about who gets the better start of the fight, and forcing someone to answer that side lane can be done just by an item swap like that.
Also, for each player in their particular role, it's a new realm to sell and buy these items. What do you get? What's right? What do you sell for? What do you buy for? And they're trying to make that right choice. Who knows what the right one is? How many times do you actually get to see this?
I mean, the Rage Blade Ezreal, I cannot think of the last time I saw that, but hey, it seems like it makes a lot of sense. To Zyrian's point, you have the Blade of the Ruined King, you're trying to punch through these massive tanks, get that stacking up, and maybe you have a better chance to compete with the Caitlyn as far as frontline DPS, and they need every little bit that they can get. You can see the Ornn upgrades have come through for everyone except Hakuho. I really like that Ornn upgraded locket for LirA. That is going to be, I think, very impactful. And I mean, it's just going to come down to execution at this point.
It's been down to execution for a while now, to be completely honest.
100,000 gold apiece. Dead even.
Boom! Gold means nothing at this point. Take it away. Start from 0. Everything says 0, 0.
Next game.
Isn't that what they tell you? It's all 0, 0.
Look at that.
0,
Don't
0.
spend
No
it all
games.
in one place, Riz.
Don't spend it all in one place. Holy moly. Damage over the entire game.
Yeah, the big thing to look at is the fact that 100 Thieves, Ryu, even though he's that AP Galio, he's not contributing that much damage to these fights. It's the Cody Sun show. It's 4 tanks and Cody, and that's what they've been relying on in this game, the faith in this guy, and he hasn't let them down just yet in this game. So far, he's been performing in this high-pressure situation with everybody just kind of throwing themselves in front of him. He got hit by some bindings, has those fast fingers today, so it's, like you said, Ezreal, it's playing with the execution in mind here and being able to deliver, and that's what it comes down to.
And the Baron is up in 40, and it seems like that is what these teams have decided this game will be settled at, right? You know, this is the battlegrounds.
Gentleman's agreement.
A gentleman's agreement.
We're going to go for a Baron.
2 teams enter in the Baron pit.
Yep.
And it will be settled like men.
I was like, sometimes 2 teams leave, too. Multiple times.
Multiple times this game as well. Also, look at
But eventually, 1 team.
It'll happen, we promise. Just wait. Look at these dank vision scores around the map as well. 197 for LirA. This guy sees all.
This guy wards.
This guy wards.
He got the Ingenious Hunter so he could ward more, and almost hitting a 200 vision score. I haven't seen that either since we introduced vision score a little bit later when we already had the speed up mechanics in the game.
Crazy things are happening. Clutch is going to be able to tag in a new champion soon. We'll see here. 10-9 as the kills just start creeping up, but as you can see, it's always 1-for-1 or a trade that doesn't net one team that much of an advantage, and we keep stalling out in the mid lane. I think we may have spent more time in the mid lane than any other game here, and we're about to get the ARAM going. A little bit down mid here for Clutch Gaming. They say we see Ryu on the outside, and it may be the ultimate in to stop it if they are going to initiate from Clutch Gaming's side. So patient.
You have to be. I mean, if you make that one mistake, the game ends, right? That you don't get another chance. 65 minutes in, the death timers are 70, 80 seconds. They are forcing the TP out.
All right.
Clutch have started the Baron, but they're going to pull off immediately. Now that they got Ryu's TP, that's all they really wanted.
Now the extension, can they actually get Ryu to want to go down to mid lane and say, we're away from Baron now? They're probably going to stay. This is where it starts to be a real sticky situation of who can get those initial shots in. Solo dodging to get the heals up. You can see right back to full health and topped off as they're just trying to go tit for tat in these small fights, but not getting anything. Oh, that's actually quite a bit. Solo not liking that damage. He'll be right as rain in a few seconds.
Yeah, he can Warmogs up, but they did push up the minion wave. So now 100 Thieves, what they got was established control of mid lane. That gets you access to the Baron pit. This can move them in. They can clear out the vision. They can establish their own line of defense here. And Apollo does get low, but he'll heal right back up. He has so much life steal. It's 40% with the Bloodthirster, the Mercurial, and that Blade of the Rune King. So a couple autos, he's right as rain.
Yeah, sold the Rage Blade, got himself Mercurial, so he has the magic resistance, and he also has the QSS effect and lifesteal. But now we have the Elder Dragon up in 30 seconds here. Now we have 2 objectives that will pull these guys to the sides.
The standard 66-minute Elder Dragon spawn.
I am trying to keep my eye on where Febiven moves this ball throughout these fights. It's kind of the priority target. We'll see that Apollo stays on the back. He's been playing the bottom side of fights or kind of towards the left of all of these if he has the chance. So keep an eye on him and Febiven as they trade back and forth here in the mid lane, just waiting for minion waves.
I mean, it's you and everyone else, because you lose focus for 1 second and lose control of where that ball is, or it's hidden under someone. You lose focus. That can be it. But they're fighting. Meteos is pretty far up here.
Solo's taking a lot of damage.
Solo goes down immediately. Palm to face for him. He knows that was not a good play. This is going to be bad. Ragnarok is there, but this is going to be the Baron attempt, and that means that LirA cannot go in safely without the crowd control. The crowd behind 100 Thieves as they posture for Baron.
Clutch is going to go try to trade, though. They're going to go towards the Elder, and a Solo actually charged and hit the Trundle pillar, it looked like. He did not use his flash, so it's Clutch trading for the Elder. We'll see if they can get it. Remember, this will not last as long as the Baron buff, but they are going to be stronger during the Elder. So again, another trade, and if they can get back to base, they should be able to hang on. Maybe they give up an inhibitor, but 40 seconds on Solo, I don't think the 100 Thieves can end the game.
Yeah, that death timer is really long, so they'll get that inhibitor. Their side lanes aren't really in position either. If they want to, they could just ham-fist it, but at the same time, I still feel like Solo, he's going to be up in time.
Yeah, and it's risky. Pushing heavily into the Elder, that is, modified damage on the true damage.
Right.
That's also more from the Infernal buff.
Great.
These guys get stronger and stronger and stronger at this point, and it's going to continue. I mean, Solo is going to be back up. You can see that Ryu is pushing up in the top side. They're going to look to try to knock down multiple inhibitors with this one, but Wave Clear is also very powerful this late in the game.
Towards the top side, they've shown a full 5, so Clutch Gaming has an idea of what is happening here as they try to defend a few last times on the base. Yeah, Paulo takes a big hit there as another one follows through from Cody Sun. LirA trying to deter from the right, and it looks like Clutch Gaming is going to be able to hold them off for a moment, but all they want is that cannon minion to do the damage.
Meteos actually popped his ult there on solo, and they do knock down the turret, but Trundle without an ultimate is very squishy, so 100 Thieves will back off after it. They get the 1 inhibitor, but again, game will continue. You see Apollo shooting that ultimate down to bot lane, trying to control the side waves as best as he possibly can with that ultimate.
God, this game is just so even. Up at the top, we just see it so close. 70 minutes in. But they're playing to go to the finals, to go to Miami and play for that banner.
From new organization to finals. Both of these teams trying to make that impact and name for themselves here. Set it in the history books. 100 Thieves pressuring the base, but it's open on the other side of the map as we have seen. That inhibitor can be taken down quickly if Clutch Gaming gets themselves a win. It would be coast to coast for either fight.
And it's funny because in these moments, you usually look for that one person to step up and make that game-winning play. But there are so many people across these two teams that constantly are making plays back and forth, this tug of war for who has the more clutch performance.
You can see how even the game is. Just that kill onto solo allowed them to now kind of jockey back and forth here. There aren't huge gains at all 70 minutes into the game, but that is big enough for 100 Thieves to feel really good about moving forward.
Yeah, getting that double inhibitor down gives you so much map pressure. They're going around the horn, they're trying to look for the triple inhib, which would be massive.
And this is an opportunity for them to do so for sure, because the Elder Dragon has fallen off, and this is that window where you have 45 seconds, 2 waves for the Baron to push in.
Ssumday, his objective, get that bottom lane in. Ryu playing a little bit of mid-wall body defense if anyone tries to get through that base gate to get over to him. And they have everything capitalized on right now as they try to get that last minion wave in to sort and push Clutch Gaming thin across their base as these minions pile in.
I mean, Clutch may be forced into a hard engage that they don't want because this turret is going down very quick. Minions are pushing in on all sides. You can't give up that third inhibitor. I think it's just lights out against this Caitlyn comp. So last inhibitor turret goes down, and they are moving forward. Apollo is somewhat separated.
Baron just about to wear off as they have lost that Elder. Seems like they'll be all right to just back and forth trade. These Warmogs are keeping everybody so healthy. Nobody really wants to take the extended fight just yet.
Yeah, but 100 Thieves are in a better map position because the minions are going to keep pushing into the Nexus turrets. Somebody has to answer them, and when somebody answers, there's a vulnerability where you can push up and get that inhibitor.
The game's become so even. It's just a slow strangle out here for 100 Thieves, suffocating Clutch Gaming, so they cannot do anything.
Going Shockwave!
So they get taken Shockwave on the backside. Meteos, Afro, and Sun, or Cody Sun, are making their way to safety. Solo taking damage. Now it's going to be on to LirA, but he's safe. They turn around. Meteos takes a few more shots, and he get out safely as nobody drops right away. But Febiven Shockwaves have staved off enough. Does the base stay alive?
Exposed, though. They're going to knock down the third inhibitor here, and 100 Thieves are cleaning up the base.
It could be enough to make their way in. They got a big wave coming in top side, or rather now to come in, but I don't know how long they can stay. Not enough minions in the bot and mid. Do they ride the wave top? They have the health to stay, and it looks like they will pressure. No deaths on the side of Clutch Gaming, but a half-health Nexus turret.
Man, this middle inhibitor is also really close to coming back up here for the side of Clutch Gaming. So you can see 100 Thieves are sticking around. Cody Sun doesn't have much mana, but still, as long as somebody doesn't die, you can keep going. These Warmogs, Meteos almost dropped in that fight, and then he comes back healthy, and you can continue the siege. And that's what we're seeing, is this game has been non-stop tug of war.
Just a game of inches. You can see Ssumday up on the top side trying to push this in. Looks like 100 Thieves perhaps are finally making the call to actually back off.
And that's because Baron is up in 2 minutes here.
Stay again. They canceled the recall there from Ssumday, and they're just going to continue staying here.
Because it's the inhib.
Yeah, nothing to buy, and they want to kill this inhib as it's respawning. We'll see if Clutch actually try to pull the trigger and defend this. They really don't want to give up 3 inhibs.
Their carries have backed, and now they have full HP and mana. Apollo runs up here. That would be the opportunity for them to go.
Shockwave also ready once more, and can be a game changer. We saw Febiven finding that big one in the last fight, but wasn't enough to get a kill.
Damage onto Ssumday.
It's getting low.
Ooh. Almost taken down. The taunt from Ryu to ensure that nobody can follow through. Call the Forge God says that's the fight.
Caught by
we
Binding.
can actually hit. Clutch Gaming looking very good at the start here. The entrance from Ryu knocks them up, but the follow through and damage is big enough. Ssumday tries to deny Febiven and Paulo, but they get themselves to safety as well. What a back and forth as both teams continue to be able to fight.
It's a 1-for-1, but again, 100 Thieves will stay around and they will go for the inhibitor. The Nexus turrets are falling to the super minions as they pile in, and Clutch are on their last legs. This could be it.
This is huge. Clutch Gaming on their last leg, balancing on a thread that 100 Thieves is looking to cut. LirA pushing himself to the limit as he gets in the face of Cody Sun. He has no mana, but he only needs the autos. 100 Thieves from new organization to first place. Now right another heist, an attempt to take down Team Liquid in Miami.
And congratulations, 100 Thieves. Their first split in the franchise era. They will be in the finals. They will take on Team Liquid, and they will fight for that banner.
And it could not have been any closer. 75 minutes into the game. 100 Thieves and Clutch still neck and neck, still fighting down to the wire. Clutch hang on forever, but just fall short as Cody Sun on that Caitlyn, able to finally get the fight he needs.
And you gotta say, Cody Sun played out of his mind in this game, because one mistake in this composition, one misposition will cost you the entire game because it revolves around you, but he was able to deliver 121,000 damage to champions that game for Cody Sun. Woo! And for Nadeshot, you know, that's gotta feel fantastic. Came in with something to prove here. And that championship white in the jersey, well, they...
One step closer.
Looking clean. One step closer, probably as well. Breaks his trend. Gets his first semifinal under his belt.
Yeah, it's the first semifinal win there for Prawley. He's going to have his first crack at a championship here in North America. And 100 Thieves will be facing Team Liquid. And that is going to be an insane finals. 100 Thieves were tested heavily today.
Woo. And the big thing I'm looking at is Double It versus aphromoo for the cup. The NALCS championship on the line between those two. The broken up Rush Hour bottom lane.
I was afraid that Clutch Gaming was really going to flip the script there, but we're good. We got it.
Well, for Clutch Gaming, though, like, you seriously, if you're a Clutch Gaming fan, you have to be very proud of that performance.
Amazing.
It took them the distance. It couldn't have been any closer than that in terms of the number of games, in terms of the length of the final game, and they went the distance. They made 100 Thieves work for that performance and work for that appearance in the finals.
And they still, you know, are going to be in Miami. They will be fighting for that third place and, you know, a chance to represent North America at Rift Rivals and take down a U.
That's true.
Absolutely crazy. So we actually look at how it kind of came to be. 100 Thieves really kind of playing not the same thing over and over again, but being able to alter midway to part, halfway through the game. Early games were great for them. When Clutch Gaming got the lead, it seemed like Clutch Gaming took it to the Nexus, and then 100 Thieves. It took them a few games to figure that out, and that could be scary for them going into the finals. Absolutely. To hear more from our finalists, however, let's send it down to Avali and solo damage source for 100 Thieves in the bot lane.
Thanks, guys. Cody Sun, congratulations on that intense victory. That was such an even and back and forth game. How were you and 100 Thieves finally able to take control and win the series?
I think going into the series, I had a feeling that Caitlyn was just one of the best picks for the match. And since all the games were going to super late game, I was confident that, you know, if I got Caitlyn, that no matter how late the game got, that we were going to win out in the end.
And kind of speaking to that, it seemed like a very bot-centric series. With that last game, it basically being the Cody Sun show with 4 tanks around you. So were you feeling the pressure, and maybe how did you handle it?
Yeah, I mean, I knew that they were just going to try to focus me the whole game because of the comp, right? So I was just like screaming for protection. And I told Zach that, you know, he had to save shield for the Ornn or else, you know, I'll just die. So yeah, I was just trying to position really well for the last game, and I had a few positioning errors in the beginning of the series, so I really wanted to make up for it in this last game.
And kind of speaking to your opponents, everyone was looking at Clutch as the underdog. What did you think about them today?
I thought they were a very respected team. I think that, you know, our match today, it was a 50-50, and it could have went to either team. And I think that, yeah, I don't think they were underdogs at all. I think they were a team that we had to try our absolute best to play against, or else we would lose. So, yeah.
Now, earlier today, your coach, Prawley, was actually awarded with the Coach of the Split Award. So what was it like working with him, and maybe what did he teach you?
I think Prawley's just a really goofy guy, and he's just really fun to talk to and talk about strategy and just learn from. So, yeah, I respect him a lot, and I think he's a very good coach, and he's helped us a ton this split.
And he isn't the only coach of the split that you've worked with, I believe. Prawley didn't seem like he knows what he's doing differently from coaches, but do you? What does he do?
I think him and Song has a very different coaching style. They're like the polar opposites. So Song is pretty like headstrong on what he wants to do, and Prawley really wants his players to feel comfortable on the team comp and everything. So yeah, I had to get used to Prawley's coaching style in the beginning, but yeah, now I like it a lot more, and I feel really confident with Prawley as my coach.
And the last thing I want to ask you, this is actually the second time that you are qualifying for the finals in playoffs. What's the difference between Summer Cody Sun last year and Cody Sun now?
Summer Cody Sun last year, it was my first year being a pro and making it to the finals. I was pretty nervous, and I think I made a lot of mistakes. And then after making it to Worlds and, you know, having all the awards experience, now going into finals again, I definitely want to take first. And I'm going to be playing against my old teammates from Immortals, so I think, you know, we're all just going to try our best and make the best team win.
Well, Cody Sun, congratulations again on your victory. I wish you the best of luck. And for more on the game, let's hear from the State Farm Analyst Desk.
Thank you very much, Arvely, and thank you to Clutch Gaming and 100 Thieves for an insane series. Ultimately, 100 Thieves, though, coming out on top 3-2 in a 70-plus minute Game 5. 6 items across the board on one side, 6 items on the board across on the other.
Picks. Whenever you walk into a playoff series, you're always hoping you get 5 games. Then when the 5th game is twice the length of all the other games, that doesn't usually happen.
We should have done average game time over-under on this
There was a whole game's worth of time spent playing around Baron in this game.
Yes, there was.
And there were a lot of different fights that broke out. One of the most important ones we saw previously was Ssumday's engage onto Ryu, and then
Ssumday's engage onto Febiven.
Right, and then the follow-up there onto the bot lane, getting more kills, setting them up to kind of get control of this game after it turned into a bit of an ARAM for a period of time. But, you know, Clutch Gaming wouldn't go down without a fight. This is an overextension by Ryu. Doesn't channel his flash long enough to keep Apollo locked down, which baits his entire team into walking onto the Ori ball, so they get punished right back despite taking a 5v4.
Yeah, you could definitely tell there was some nerves involved in the plays there, like not channeling taunt long enough, and a huge play by Apollo there to actually save the game. You're not really going to remember that in the history of the season since they ultimately lost the game, but there were some huge call-outs, right? When Febiven had huge 4-man shockwaves in very key moments, or when Meteos was holding his ultimate until just the right time. Like this fight right here felt like it could potentially swing in either way. Like Clutch was so close to being able to take down Meteos quickly, but then they end up taking too much damage in the process.
Yeah, Cody Sun with some slick positioning in those late-game team fights, avoiding many of Febiven's ults, either by good positioning or holding his flash for it.
Yeah, as well as the fact that they did play the map better over the course of this game. It might be hard to really notice, but they did end up getting all the inhibitors down. They built CS leads. Ssumday in particular made sure not to overgroup, which tended to happen a little bit later on in the game, but it led to this crazy situation where they have the extra map pressure. Clutch Gaming, despite going 1-for-1 in the fight initially, needs to back off and defend their turrets, and then it just starts breaking down from there. Apollo gets caught out. Ryu's finally able to solo out Febiven in the back line, and they're able to finally win that game.
I mean, we were at that point where people are selling items, pulling out.
Look at that gold graph.
We're not used to putting that many digits.
1,000 damage coming out of that
That's
Caitlyn.
a small K. They barely fit that in there.
Exactly. I mean, even Apollo up over that 100K mark. So again, there's nothing to scoff at in terms of damage coming from the Clutch squad.
It's because once everyone hit these items, you had double Warmogs on both teams, and they were the ones walking around for position as the AD carries just kept hitting them back and forth, but it was never fatal damage.
Right.
Because you had the Braum to block the Ornn engage, and you had the Morgana Black Shields to block pretty much any engage that 100 Thieves would throw. So it was just these meat walls getting hit for 1,000 damage a hit from the AD carries, not dying.
And it's very fitting for 100 Thieves that the way that they punched their ticket to the finals is kind of how they were winning games at the start of the season. These very long, drawn-out games where their veteran status helped them make the better decisions over the course of a game like that. So it was kind of reminiscent of that, the start of the season.
Well, if you want to talk about veteran status and experience, Jad, I think you do have to point to Game 5s like this, where there's no practicing for 70 minutes.
Exactly.
There's no practicing for 60-plus minutes in an elimination game. And simply, when it comes down to it, a little bit more composure out of the 100 Thieves squad, a little bit more map control ultimately brings them the victory.
Yeah, and then you're looking at Meteos and aphromoo, who have been there before. Cody Sun having the world's experience last year that he wanted to make up for, not having a big misposition to try and make the big play at the end of the game. And because he doesn't make that big mistake, he does 121,000 damage. Right. So a bit of a do-over for Cody Sun in the high-pressure situation, and then Meteos and aphromoo when you're down to your most basic elements in these games where you're basically just A-ramming for 40 minutes and you know that one mistake decides your season. You don't, like you said, you don't practice
You don't practice for it. We'll talk more in just a minute. For now, though, we're going to throw it back down to Avli, who's standing by with 100 Thieves top laner.
Thanks, guys. I am joined by Ssumday and our translator, Joanne. Ssumday, congratulations on that victory. You had some phenomenal performances with the tanks up in top. How would you rate your own performance today?
I think I played well, so we win, but not extremely satisfied, so I'm gonna try to hard for final.
Where were you maybe unsatisfied with your performance?
Because I didn't play perfect.
A perfectionist, I see. Well, kind of speaking to that, earlier in the split, there were a few people who kind of doubted your performance and maybe even put you a little bit lower on the top tier rankings. What's your reaction to that?
My personality is too much care about other people think about me, and and I hate blame, and I like the prize. So we show them we deserve to go to final.
And you proved them. You're on your way to finals by taking down Clutch Gaming. I want to ask you a little bit about your opponents for today. Like I spoke with Cody, people thought that Clutch Gaming was the underdog, coming in, going to make these upsets and take down the top teams. What were your expectations coming into the match today?
They played very well, so they won against TSM, so we should 100% play. But today was not 100%, but we won, so it's happy for me.
Happy indeed. Now, you came to NA kind of with the mentality of showing people what you are made of, and you're going to have an opportunity to do that next week in the finals in Miami. How are you going to prove to people what you're made of?
Just keep trying to hard with my teammate, and we go Miami, so see you finals.
See you in finals. In finals, you're going to take on Impact and the rest of Team Liquid. What do you think about that team, and how confident are you in taking them down?
They play very well, so it's gonna be hard game, but I don't think we just lose. We can show how we doing good, so you guys can expect the final games.
Ssumday, thank you so much. I wish you the best of luck and congratulations, Joanne. Thank you so much. Back to the guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Avli. Ssumday, that guy on your screen right there. When we talked about this series coming in, we talked about how playoffs so far had so much revolved around the bot lane and both AD carries as well as supports in that sense. This series, though, however, did in many points, or at many points, revolve around the top lane. Both Solo and Ssumday having their fair share of work cut out for them.
And I think, hands down, the biggest thing that went wrong for Clutch Gaming in this final game was actually their most inexperienced player for Solo. Unfortunately for him, he over-roamed trying to do the right team play, and he lost a lot of pressure to Ssumday, and then when he had the TP advantage, he still group mid the entire time as opposed to generating split push pressure, and that's when that game started stalling out. And so Ssumday showing that veteran status, the fact that he did have that extra experience, knowing to stay calm and composed and play the game correctly even in these high-pressure situations.
Yep, very much so. Well, in their freshman split, 100 Thieves have made it to the finals, and while every member on the Rift today was crucial in making that dream a reality, one player had the pressure put upon his shoulders and truly delivered for the new org. We are awarding Cody Sun Player of the Series.
Yeah, you look at his damage in that last game and the fact that they priority picked the bottom lane for Caitlyn for him, and he had so much success on that pick. Was huge. And you look at these team compositions, Sion, Trundle, Galio, Braum, one misstep by Caitlyn and they don't actually do much damage. So really thin win margin for Cody Sun, but with that being said, I think Meteos was super close for that vote, as is Ssumday.
Absolutely, and it was a complete team effort, and anytime there's a 5-game series, you can point to different times where different people stepped up, but just how critical he was in that last game. The entire team comp built around him.
62% of their damage.
That's all right.
I mean, again, anytime you end up in a 5-game series as well, it becomes that much more difficult to pinpoint the player who should receive the award, just because there are times when some people are making mistakes just as much as they're making game-winning plays. But the consistency there in the 3 victories on the ADC being indexed so heavily for that damage needing to come through, he picks up the award for that reason. Now, before we end our discussion around the series, we need to revisit our over-under predictions from earlier in the day. First up, Febiven's deaths. We had set the bar at 3.5.
It was more.
We were rather close to that until we went to 5 games.
Yeah.
6 deaths in a 5-game loss
6.
actually feels pretty low. I was expecting it to be a 4-game series.
1.2 deaths per game, that's pretty legit when you've lost 3 of them.
Yeah, I think the numbers were close to what we thought. The 1 4-game death he had was what really kind of threw it out of whack.
Exactly. Total kills for the series. Let's take a look at that one as it came out. 70.5 was the line. Mark said over. Jat said under.
5 games. 75-minute.
We had more kills yesterday.
Yeah.
Yes.
We had more kills yesterday.
And it didn't have a 70-minute
And we didn't have a 70-minute game 5 on that one.
All right, the one,
Bindings,
the one we care about.
and hooks.
2 Morgana games is all there was.
That's all we had.
But it was a 70-minute more game.
70-minute Morgana game.
Give us our final total.
I think it went over.
Oh, 220!
He threw 190 hooks.
Yeah, because it was 30 in game 1 or something like that from Afro's Morgana, right? And then that means it was 190 in the 70-minute game, if my math is close to right.
We were always told not to do math on air.
In a single game.
In a single game. Yeah, the one Morgana game would put me away. I don't even need game
174.
How could you not get that,
I just
Jack?
received word 174 bindings thrown in that final game of the series. So good on Hakuho for tossing them out, but that's what you get in a 70-minute game. Now, before we move away from the series, we're going to send it back down to Avli, who's standing by with the owner of 100 Thieves.
Thanks, guys. The owner, founder, and CEO. I am here with Nate Shot. I saw you watching from the crowd there. What was it like to watch your team in this intense series?
Well, I go backstage after we win, and I ask them, could you have not done it in such dramatic fashion? Why couldn't it have been like a 30-minute game and it's just a clean win? But it was incredible. I think for everybody watching at home, everyone here at the studio, that's the best outcome we could have asked for. I mean, unfortunately, Clutch Gaming lost. It said good game to them, but I'm just so proud of the team. But the match, I definitely wish it was a little shorter.
Now, I mean, how does it feel to you? This is a new org and a new team that has made its way all the way into the finals. Yeah,
I think it's still incredibly surreal. It hasn't set in yet. I know our team at the office, we're working hard every single day, up shoulder to shoulder with the players while they're practicing. So to see all of us, have this reward to be able to make it to the finals in our first season is unbelievable. We're grateful, we're humbled, and we're going to keep working hard and hopefully take the championship.
Now, we've heard from everyone, the fan base, the community. It seems like you guys have already built up this huge following. Anything that you'd like to say to your supporters?
honestly a big thank you to the entire League of Legends community, because I know there was a lot of controversy when we first stepped in, because unfortunately teams had to leave the LCS for us to jump into the spot. But we've just been trying to do everything the right way, do right by the players, do right by the community, do right by just everybody involved. And that's been like our #1 focus. So I just want to say thank you from the bottom of all of our hearts at 100 Thieves. The fact that you guys have been so supportive and receptive to a new team, watching our videos, watching the heist, and our incredible content team putting all that work in. It's just a lot of moving parts here, and we're just very grateful to be in this position, from Riot accepting us into the LCS and the community accepting us into their home.
Last thing I want to ask you before I let you go celebrate with your team. Are the world's Teslas already on pre-order?
No, so I walked out of the front house today, and because we had the championship white jerseys on, and Meteos told me he really liked my Yeezys. And then I remembered that I still have not bought them Yeezys from when we beat Optic in the first match. And so if we end up winning Worlds, I'm going to need a loan from Dan Gilbert, more money, because I don't think I can make these Teslas happen.
Pay the man. We need Yeezys. We need Teslas. Congratulations again on your victory, and I wish you the best of luck in Miami. Back to the guys at the desk.
Thank you, Ovly. Thank you, 100 Thieves, for shaking up the NALCS. Yeah. A new org moving into the franchise system. Their first split. They're going to make it all the way to the finals and contest Team Liquid, one of our old guard who have yet to win themselves. I mean, what an epic final.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, there's been a lot of victories in the franchising system just across the board, but I think 100 Thieves are probably the shining example, and the fact that you're getting that matchup versus Team Liquid, like we said, the old guard, but still a lot of familiar faces. That rematch between Afro and Doublelift. Of course, Ryu getting into a finals after what feels like forever for him, always competing in Europe and never really getting that chance. A little bit of the same story in NA most recently.
That's one new org. Let's not forget that the other new org made it into playoffs. Clutch Gaming just, losing in a 70-minute game. Going to go contest Echo Fox for that third place, a seed into Rift Rivals, and some all-important championship points when it comes to Worlds qualification later in the year.
Yeah, you can see they have good backing from the team as well. Daryl Morey, the GM of the Houston Rockets, was here, as he was here for the draft of Scouting Grounds. Like, they're really supporting this team, and they've shown immediate success. They can still finish third. They can still represent at Rift Rivals.
Very much so. Now, leading into the finals, you brought the hype to our semifinals and charted the huge moments that made playoffs worth watching, giving us our LCS Big Plays, brought to you by Acer Predator. First up, Ellie shouted it from the mountaintops. Doublelift is popping off.
Alt lands, hits Huni again. Needs the ball, the stone play does do so. Purple gets shredded. Pops is on, he's a 4-man. Oh no, might be enough. Doublelift does kill Huni, but Fox, actually they do have this game. Doublelift grabs the double kill. Altec still free firing on the other side. A triple kill for Doublelift. A quadra kill for Doublelift.
Okay.
Okay,
Cho. I don't give it. Hey, bye, mate. Everyone. Yeah. Okay, I'm going. Yeah, Base.
Can we get it? Oh, no, I can't.
Hold the bot one if we can.
I mean, again, you want to talk about crazy storylines. Once again, you point to Doublelift, a guy who's already won on 2 organizations, now positioned to win his third on a different organization in Team Liquid. I mean, and doing it in pretty amazing fashion on that Ashe.
Yeah, especially with Impact coming up big as well. The whole team, just crazy amounts of CC in there, but hit, I think, 5-man Braum ult, or excuse me, Ornn ult, both directions, I'm pretty sure. That was absolutely monstrous, making his way back to his finals, hoping to win for the first time in North America here. Good luck to him.
Yep, we'll have to see. Tough. Next up, shame on you, Febiven. Wait, what? Next up, shame on you, Febiven. You gave Phil a heart attack after that bold Shurima shuffle. Let's take a look.
Poor Phil.
They'll take the Cho'Gath right away. Hakuho is in the front. Great health is on as he cleanses himself to safety. We're watching solo Febiven. Apollo goes forward. Oh, Febiven's in the fight. Shurima shuffles himself in. All very low. 300 HP between all the members of 100 Thieves. And Febiven makes their clutch play.
Febiven was like already there catching the mid-wave. Everybody is there right in time. It's not a split fight where one person's off on the side. They stun Ssumday. They pull him back in. The person that can't get out of the Skarner ult is the only person right there. aphromoo forced to blow his flash because that would have been a 3-man there from Febiven.
That was so close to also being even better. If Apollo would have shifted over the wall with him, those 3 people that were all really low health would have all been dead right away.
I mean, but again, that's that in-the-moment decision-making where Febiven saw an opportunity, went for it, and they still ultimately won that game. Finally, Floop appreciated how Meteos played a team fight versus Clutch Gaming. Let's take a look.
They're going from the side. There's the ulti.
Oh my word, they locked down Ryu. That's gonna be huge. They get the Mega Gnar ult in. No, Febiven very low. That's the huge one. Shockwave did not go off.
He pulls Galio with the W on straight to his mid laner. Watch this.
But look at Apollo as well. I mean, the mid laner gets haunted, and Apollo is just getting trained down in the back. No one is coming to target Meteos. No one is coming to help Apollo whatsoever.
Call now.
Sorry. I just love the yeah, it was great. How can you say floop without doing some kind of a floop? You know, I don't know. I felt it. I internalized it, and that's how it came out. We're shipping off to Miami, but we need you to keep tweeting your big plays throughout finals weekend using that hashtag NALCS. Now, with the semifinals complete, we can now look ahead to next week's finals at the Fillmore Theater in South Beach, Miami. Echo Fox and Clutch Gaming will battle it out on Saturday for third place and a spot to represent North America at Rift Rivals, with our grand final taking place on Sunday as Team Liquid and 100 Thieves compete for first place and the title of NALCS Spring Split Champions. A reminder that after NALCS tonight, Jat and Kobe settle their feud in the NALCS Civil War. That's a big one. That's a doozy. So that about wraps it up here at the analyst desk, but we have Freak on stage with Zyrene and Kobe to close out the weekend on NALCS tonight. What is that? What are you doing? Good night.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to NALCS Tonight. This time with an audience. That's awesome. Hello, audience.
We didn't kick him out yet. So.
I don't get to do direct call-outs while casting. Normally, it's my first time. You're like at my beck and call. It's beautiful.
You can see them as they
I know.
Your punch.
You can tell me how bad I am. It's great. I can hear you. There's no headset on. All right. So Kobe and Zyrene are here. They are wonderful people, amazing human beings, and the most attractive people on this desk right now. Stage, whatever. Anyway, this is the NALCS Civil War waiting room. When we're done talking, you can watch that. Kobe versus Jat. Tell me, how much do you hate Jat?
All the hate is reserved for Jat.
Good, wonderful. All right, so let's talk about the matchups that happened this weekend, the ones happening last weekend. Quick talk about the fact that Liquid did some pretty hard smashing.
Team Liquid, you want? Yeah, we can start with them.
That was the one.
Looking at those series, I would honestly think that the finals is going to be much like this series, actually. More long, more drawn out, because of the way that Team Liquid have shown that they also have the preference for the mid-game objectives, that 5-on-5 fighting tanks, front to back. So we may be in store for some more action similar to this.
I'm of the opposite impression, where I think it's going to be pretty fast when one team gets a lead, whether it's 100 Thieves start going for baits or whether TL start just throwing themselves at the enemy when, they need to get back into the game.
Is that wishful thinking because you just did a 75-minute game?
Potentially. Potentially.
I think those games are hype.
Just like Nade's shot having, 35-ish minute games is kind of my sweet spot. I peak at the right time in those games.
Peak at the right time. Fair enough there. Maybe you'll get some endurance later on in this weekend. Let's talk about the fact that this match was nuts, by the way. I know we talked about, hey, maybe you can keep it shorter, 7 minutes. The dream kind of happened here in this one. But honestly, I did not expect it to be this close. I thought in my mind it was 90-10. It was going to be a 3-0. Clearly not the case here. It was actually super close.
Yeah, they ended up being stylistically like incredibly similar teams where they both like to play around Baron in the late game. Coming into it, I could kind of see that, and I thought it would be very close. And it was just kind of whoever's playing better on the day. But it just seemed like pound for pound, they're just going back and forth with the punches. So I didn't expect it to be that even though stylistically I thought they were the same. I just thought 100 Thieves had the same style, but were better at it, right? Yeah. So Clutch actually, I think, stepped up a whole bunch and were able to meet 100 Thieves.
Yeah, I think there's some definitely key differences as far as individual players as well. Febiven definitely deserves a lot of credit for his play, especially in the last game. With the Orianna, huge game-making plays, like we think are going to happen with a 5-man shockwave or 4-man shockwaves or whatever. You're going to need to pull out like 10 of those if the game is going to go on that long around the Baron. And with both teams making those types of plays, that's when you get the longer ones.
Yeah, and it's so hard too because you have to watch for the Braum shield that'll block it, and then there's 4 tanks, and if you catch like 2 tanks in it, they're just gonna get away. Warmog's up. You gotta catch that Caitlyn. Well, Cody Sun was playing incredibly well.
That's what I was gonna say. So you're talking about big shockwaves, but if it didn't catch Cody Sun, it did not matter. He was 64% of his team's damage in the last game, so you can kill any one person, and you've cut 12% of their damage output gone, and it's like, oh boy, they're still got Cody Sun.
It's ridiculous to think that 4 other people make up 1/3 of the team's damage.
Yep.
So he was just bringing so much. So
Isn't that ridiculous, though?
Yes.
Everyone's in dedicated roles.
I mean, it's full AP Galio, Death Cap, and everything. At a certain point, it's like, all right, Cody Sun's hard.
I'm just thinking because we talk about like, oh, it's protect the Cogmog composition. This is the soul damage source. I don't think it's ever been like that much of a soul damage source for them because
Cody Sun, almost 66%. They're almost 2/3 of the team's damage. That is actually ridiculous. I don't think I've seen that before. I've seen things close to it, but I don't think I've seen that overwhelming of a number.
Right. I'm curious what the record actually is for damage share in a game more than 5 minutes long.
It's like sometimes Xeraths will get like, 50%.
I know that the
50 is always nuts.
The low end is 0% because there have been professional games with 0%.
All right, well, the opposite of that one, of course. So let's talk about the actual finals going to be happening. I know we talked about it very briefly at the beginning of the show, but 100 Thieves off a very tough 5-game series against Clutch, the #1 seed coming into playoffs. They have made that run so far. Liquid, 4th seed coming in, but they've won all the matches as well, and a convincing one over Echo Fox. I'm kind of curious, at your first glance is, who do you even consider the favorite? The easier run from Liquid or the fairly trying run from 100 Thieves?
TL, in my mind.
Yeah, I would side with TL. I wouldn't be so quick to jump to that one, though, because there were a lot of errors that we saw in the Team Liquid games, even though it was, a quicker series and they were able to win the games. Right. There were still a lot of, especially early game stuff, where I can see improvements from, either one of these squads in that area specifically. But I'm more hyped about, we're going to get to see so many of the old Immortals players playing against each other. Yeah. Caitlyn, as a pick, has risen in importance in both of the series. And so it's going to be Double Lift versus Cody Sun, kind of the two biggest North American AD carries now.
Which was funny, yeah, sorry.
Sneaky knocked out.
Sneaky knocked out by Double Lift himself. But it's great, there are so many storylines. You talk about players, Cody Sun against Xmithy and Po Belter and Ole. Double Lift against aphromoo is another really good one. Double Lift going for his 3rd championship on a 3rd different team. Like, there's a lot going on here.
Double Lift goes versus Cody Sun, which was the last finals we had as well, back when they were on Immortals. But also, I think I remember hearing towards the beginning of the split that Cody Sun was supposed to be on that roster, right? He was supposed to be in Double Lift's position, and then when Double Lift ended up finding out that he got kicked from TSM, he was picked up by TL. So Cody Sun definitely wants to win against his former teammates and be like, hey, you guys made the wrong choice of Team Liquid not picking me up.
And he's looked super sharp. I mean, like, Cody's growth as a player, I think, is probably bigger than almost any player other than FLICKR I can think of. Like, FLICKR came out of solo queue and won. I mean, I know, yes, I'm comparing Cody Sun to FLICKR. Bear with me, internet audience. But we're in NA, you guys are on my side.
Overreact.
I mean, FLICKR went from like, hey, solo queue, I'll start to like winning worlds really quickly. But Cody Sun went from like a joke in spring to really good in summer to like now, like his 2nd chance at a final now. Like he's going to represent NA at Rift Rivals. Like he's had a really quick rise. And like that's cool to see. He's jumped up really nicely. As I think through other players,
I know,
NA, I'm like, never mind. Let's just cut that one out.
It's okay. You're saying Cody Sun is killing it. Good
Cody
job.
Sun is killing it, and also being considered best in the role, right? Like, or at least up there, super awesome. On top of that one, so also a new banner, by the way. Kind of want to point that one out. It's of course going to be some of those up there, but it's a bunch of TSM banners, C9 banners, CLG banners. Liquid, I guess you guys are both considering as a favorite to be the 4th NA LCS champion, which is just awesome. It means they're going to MSI, and I want to talk about that then. Whether it's 100 Thieves or Liquid, when they're going to go up against all those insane teams from China and Korea, how's that going to go?
Could quote your Twitter with a bold prediction, maybe.
Yeah, well, I mean, today's NA's going to win Worlds, so will they win MSI?
Yeah, I mean, they definitely have really tough competition if people have been watching LCK, Kingzone over there.
Yeah.
But as far as NA's chances, just the normal goal of getting out of groups, I think will be
done.
Good.
We made it past play-ins, so we're in
at
groups
least
now.
in groups. None of our teams can fail in play-ins. To be fair, they've never yet so far. Fingers crossed, knock on wood. Final topic then, as we're talking about MSI and hoping NA can hold up. Rift Rivals. The 3rd place match is going to determine who goes to Rift Rivals in the middle of the summer split to battle against Europe, which is going to be, I think that's going to be either Vitality or Splice joining G2 and Fnatic. So I'm curious who you want to go, who you think will go, and how that's going to work.
So who I want to go, I don't care either way because it's either
free no matter what.
No, see, the crowd won't respond to that. No, but still, I think it's Huni versus EU. Or it's Febiven versus EU.
That's true.
Right? And so either way, I'm happy because I think that those are two kind of guys who have won the EU LCS before, brought them to a top 4 finish at Worlds, and then they get to go, okay, I made the right choice by leaving.
I think it's a really, interesting match because of the 2 different, exits that both of them had from the playoffs, right? Or at least from the chance at taking 1st place. Echo Fox there, you're talking about their game versus Team Liquid. It looked like, they couldn't really get a handle on cracking just the front to back, tank line strategy that Team Liquid was going with. And Clutch Gaming were using that on display for most of the games here, pretty much all 5 games. And it was a very hard-fought best-of-5 that we just witnessed here. So I think that Clutch Gaming actually might be the representative there, yeah.
It's really hard to tell because that series is pretty much going to tell, like, what are the trajectories of these two teams and are they consistent? Because Clutch Gaming have been looking up and up, whereas how far has the slide been for Echo Fox? Because towards the second half of the split, they did not look anywhere close to their first half.
It was like 3 and 7. You had another 1 and 3 on top of that one afterwards.
And then they had to play to even have that, playoff bye at first, ended up going, and then they had to play and fell out of first. And now that slide has been really, really big, whereas Clutch Gaming is the exact opposite. They are just gaining momentum. And even though they lost the series today, you lose it by like 1 team fight, 1 ability.
Sure.
And they would have been going to the finals.
Yep. Well, that's going to do it for us on LCS tonight. It's going to be fun watching out for the finals and the 3rd place matches coming Saturday and Sunday following Europe on those days. Now it's time for the waiting room to be over. After the break, we've got the LCS Civil War where Kobe hopes to blast Jet. Good luck.
USA!
I stand with Kobe.
For playoffs, I think we practiced really hard and we can contend with the other top teams.
We just want to come in as 100 Thieves. Do our best to pull off the heist.
Who will be trying for that first place match against Liquid in Miami? We'll find out as we get onto the Rift for game 1. Gets hit up, and he's gonna get taken down. First blood to Meteos. And Solo do good on the other side. 3-minute shockwave coming in from Ryu. And Clutch Gaming needs to reconsider the entire fight.
Nice shot. Yep, Thunder.
Let's go, Liquid. Oh, wrong team. Let's go, 100. Hell yeah, bro.
It is followed up with a lot more damage on the back side from 100 Thieves.
Look heavy, look heavy, look heavy.
Zoning their carries, I'm zoning their carries. Their carries can't do anything. Their carries can't do anything.
Febiven very low, shuffles himself out, but there's the realm warp. They're in the flame, they're in the fire, and Clutch Gaming is starting to take a lot of damage. Apollo, though, eyes on him as he keeps hitting the right targets.
I'm Apollo, my support is Hakuho.
Haku, yes.
Oh, very nice flash for LirA to get right to Cody Sun. Follow-up damage, what a beautiful play!
Or is that? Right.
I'm looking at our. Careful.
Go. This is warp for us.
We got one.
Nice.
Keep on pushing, Apollo. Keep on pushing.
It's going to be on to Meteos. Cody Sun has to flash. What a turnaround from Clutch Gaming. Febiven and They're for the Baron now. Again.
I'm doing it.
Go. Ornn pass.
Stand.
Nice.
The turnaround damage is huge from 100 Thieves as they start to wipe down Clutch Gaming. Cody Sun flashes. They're everyone. Scatter. Aphromoo now forced to flash. They are using everything. Febiven is able to take down Meteos. No bloblets there. Ooh. The flash forward.
Clutch just refuses to die. Everyone predicting them to lose in the quarters, predicting them to lose in the semis. They are 1 game away from going to the finals. And here we go.
Apollo took a few hits there.
Gonna get hit.
Cody Sun in undertow. Is it a turnaround? Solo do what he can. Apollo flashes forward. Febiven, it is up to the Orianna.
Minus. Nice. Olaf. Cancel. Hey. I got there.
Solo's taking a lot of damage. Solo goes down immediately. LirA pushing himself to the limit as he gets in the face of Cody Sun. He has no mana, but he only needs the autos. 100 Thieves from new organization to first place. Now right another heist and attempt to take down Team Liquid in Miami.